welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. Back in the recording booth, Mr. Andrew Meadows.
I am here over the internets with you, sir. How are you doing this afternoon?
This
evening?
As well as anyone can be, these days. But I'm excited to talk not only about the Academy Awards with you, but maybe talk about a big winner of the Academy Awards with you and Anora. We're going to do things a little bit different this year because, this is just it's what makes most sense. Let's put it that way. And we'll be getting into a lot of stuff with the Academy Awards and both Anora later. And in fact, we are going to be joined by our usual guest that joins us to talk all things Oscars. That's Anna Mattis, who I may or may not be married to. I can confirm I am, at least as of right now. I'm excited to get into all of those things as, a nice, kind of way to really, I guess, fully at this point put away all the movies that we talked about in 2024. But I think particularly to highlight Anora, which is a movie that did escape our attention. By the time that we ended up recording our two episodes covering 2024, it was something that was very much on my radar, but just didn't make the time to watch it. Have since made the time to watch it and have a thing or two to say about it, and I think Anna does, and I think maybe you will as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting episode, I think.
Yeah, so we are going to do things a little bit differently. As I said, I don't think we're going to be as exhaustive with our Academy Awards coverage, and I guess really the simple reason, I guess, just to go ahead and throw it out at the top, is Anna and I, and I guess you by extension, but this is not unusual for you, to be fair, is that we were not as invested in a lot of the movies and everything that came out this year. Like, usually we do a lot better job of trying to prepare for the Oscars, watch everything, or at least watch, almost everything that we possibly can. And I guess we did technically really watch everything we possibly could, within reason, I guess, but we still ended up missing out on quite a few. So we won't be as exhaustive with it, but we are going to kind of redirect our energy to talking about Anora, because we do think that clearly, as the Academy did, as we'll get to, it's a movie worth talking about. So we'll turn our attention to talking about a movie that escaped our attention for all of 2024. None of us got a chance to see it until 2025, so what better time to talk about it than now? And also, this episode is a good way for us to record. You talked about it on the Brave New World episode, last thing we recorded. You were pretty burned by that theater trip. The listeners may recall. So we didn't have too big of an ask for you here. You had to stream a movie, and hopefully you were entertained by it. We'll get into that, obviously. But it was still pretty low stakes. You just had to probably do it when the baby wasn't around for obvious reasons.
Yeah, the theater trips are.
It's
while I'm there,
right?
I enjoy the setting. It's
totally. There's nothing like it, but it's your night. It's your night, and it's and it's not sustainable to do it as often as probably either you'd want to, or just practically, it's just not
stuff.
It's not sustainable.
It's not. It will get easier as
much as you used to, I guess. At least we can at least put it that way.
It will get easier.
Back in the day, we'd be covering stuff pretty much weekly or close to weekly, and that's just not really quite feasible for us these days. Even for me, even though I certainly have more free time than you, I find that still too exhausting, even for myself. So I certainly couldn't ask it of you, in all fairness. But that's okay. We've got things. We've got streaming. We've got TV. We've got so many things that certainly can fill that void. And something else, maybe.
And we have dad jokes.
Hell of a segue. I don't know if that's dad-like or not, but I guess probably. You know how to carry a conversation, and really just light up a room.
You got to find your opportunity.
Exactly.
Opportunistic.
Right, so do you have one lined up, ready to go? I was hoping Anna might be able to join us for this whole episode, but she's going to be busy for a little bit. She'll join us when we get to the Oscars stuff, because I really need help these dad jokes. I thought Enrique was going to come to my rescue with
He
the
came
Captain
close,
America
if I remember
episode.
right. He was almost there.
I think we were like on the right track, and then just still couldn't quite put it together. Even putting two brains together. But hey, I'm gonna come up with the right answer one of these days.
You might
Maybe
even
it's
get
today.
this one.
Let's find out. I'm ready.
What do you get if you cross a dog with a phone?
Oh man. Really thought I was going to have it easy based on the way you put that, and it probably is. It probably is rather obvious when you hear it, but dog in a phone. Just to clarify, dog
in a phone. What do you do? What do you get when you
Okay.
cross a dog with a phone?
I don't. I got nothing.
A golden receiver.
God damn it! See, and the thing is, I was thinking about specific breeds. I was like, maybe it's a specific breed thing. So my mind went to bulldog, and I went to like pit bull. Golden retriever was far afield for me. That was not anywhere on the horizon, so I wasn't getting there. Yeah,
That's a good one.
Well, I would say I tried, but I guess I didn't even offer a guess. So that was a
getting
pretty
there.
pitiful
You're
effort
getting there.
from me.
You're getting there. It's
Yeah, I like the synapses are firing in like the sort of right way. They just, I don't know. Like maybe if I could sit on it for like 2 to 3 minutes, I'd get there. For you and I, it'd be dead air. I would clip it out for the listeners at home, or I'd let them really sit in it so they could equally have the same
Try to
equal
get it,
opportunity
right?
to figure it out. But then they'd think that their podcast app is busted, and and probably throw their phone across the room, and it'd be bad, and then they'd leave us a bad review. It'd be a whole big deal. We don't want to do that. So,
golden receiver.
not today.
Yeah.
It was not today. Golden receiver, you son of a bitch. All right.
Got him again.
Airbud. Fucking Airbud. Should have just thought about Airbud, because he could use a telephone. All right, so what are we going to do on this episode? Well, obviously, we'll get to Oscars. We'll get to Anora. We are going to, first, however, before Anna joins us, do an in memoriam section. We're counting, looking, we're talking about a few folks who have unfortunately left us. Really, I guess probably over the past, I would say, couple months-ish, but really since the beginning of 2025. We haven't done a full proper in memoriam section because we've only had one real regular episode of 2025 content in our last one in Captain America, and I held these back because I thought in memoriam would make more sense, because the Oscars typically have their own in memoriam segment. And so really what I figured is, I think I could keep everything sort of on brand. So we do have some headlines and trailers that will follow with that, but I think that all of those are maybe going to be an awards consideration, maybe Oscars down the line, but maybe also some TV, some Emmys and stuff like that. So that's the loose theming of this, how I bundled everything today, but we'll get there. We'll start with in memoriam, with four people we're going to talk about, just to flag that. So someone who we actually, I think, have mentioned offhand as having passed away, because this happened, or at least was announced back in January of this year. So we're definitely going back a ways. Director, filmmaker, writer David Lynch passed away at age 78. He was a lifelong smoker, passed away from emphysema. He was diagnosed in 2024. I kind of respect that he's just like, fuck it. Like, hey,
as many smokers
just-
as many smokers do. I don't know if you know that or not. A lot of people
Yeah.
are just committed.
Yeah, well, it's just like, I don't think he was complaining about it. It's like, well, that's how it happens. That's how it's going to go. So I think if you are going to, be a lifelong smoker, then, just accept your fate. As long as you're okay with that, then, like, that's fine. Smoke your death sticks. Hey, I guess don't blow the smoke in my face. I won't particularly appreciate that. But thankfully, I was not there to have smoke blown in my face by David Lynch. Although some people might consider that an honor, because he's a visionary filmmaker. People really respect his work. I might
even smoke one with David Lynch.
You might, yeah, maybe
One.
If the circumstances were right, just one. Don't get addicted, but maybe just one. Yeah, I mean, he's an incredibly interesting filmmaker with a pretty, I think, a very impressive filmography of pretty out there movies, out there projects and stuff. Like
he's a visionary.
Very, very, yes, visionary, I think is a great word. Surrealist, experimental filmmaker. And I have to confess, on my end, I am not super up to speed on a lot of David Lynch's work. So maybe that, and our listeners' eyes will take, people's opinion of me down a peg, and that's okay. I recognize that I have work to do in getting up to speed and watching some Lynch stuff. Unfortunately, I think, and I don't know what your connection is to Lynch's stuff, but 1984's Dune is kind of a thing that I have seen.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, well, that's probably not really representative of him as a filmmaker. So
Twin Peaks.
I mean, he went for it.
I've seen season 1 of Twin Peaks.
Okay, so you've got that under your belt. I've heard great things about Twin Peaks. It's always been a show that I've been interested to watch, and I feel like I would enjoy, even though it's apparently pretty fucking weird and out there. And
it is weird and out there.
Continually and perpetually weirder as it went on. I think it had its own, at least one movie, connected to it, or maybe a revival series later down the road. But he's also known for movies like The Elephant Man, Eraserhead.
Not The Elephant Man. I've heard of Eraser. I've never watched it.
Mulholland Drive. Okay, there's a lot of movies on like that I like of his where I'm just like, I think I would probably enjoy watching this, even if I don't get it, because that's a pretty common experience of watching a David Lynch movie is not really getting it, at least the first time you're watching. First time you watch it, like I do feel like I would get something out of it. Like like you and I are the kind of film goers that even if we're not fully grasping it, we can still appreciate the artistic quality of movies and recognize that, like, all right, that was really interesting, and like we could come away with totally different messages, but maybe still enjoy the same thing.
That's right.
So yeah, Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, and probably others. Directed music videos. I've probably seen some music videos he directed. He's directed some for Nine Inch Nails, X Japan, and others. And just a really, really interesting filmmaker who I need to do my homework on, I think is probably the bottom line. But I know people have a lot of reverence for him. There was a Criterion Collection flash sale, and I very nearly bought Mulholland Drive in 4K, and I was like, you know what? I should probably stream these movies just to make sure that like I can vibe with this sort of thing before I just start popping down big money on stuff, even though obviously Criterion sets are beautiful. They're awesome. But I do feel like, I mean, I guess if ever there was a time to maybe take a look at some David Lynch stuff, like this maybe would be the year to do it. So maybe we could do a bonus episode.
That might be fun.
I thought about it, but it could be an interesting thing to look at one man's filmography. Maybe not exhaustively, picking a few representative films could be a way to do that. But I think, I don't know. We've talked about his Dune movie, and obviously it is not the best adaptation of Dune. Some could argue that it's probably the worst, even including the sci-fi miniseries. But his other movies really, really piqued my interest, so I would be curious to give those a go. And Twin Peaks as well. I don't know if we'll necessarily have 30 plus episodes of a TV show on us on top of all the other things we're covering this year, but maybe a few movies I think could be doable potentially. So anyway, it's an idea. Maybe I'm floating it. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, David Lynch, 78, unfortunately has passed away. But yeah, big legacy left behind there. So rest in peace to David Lynch. Do you have any thoughts? I don't want to cut you off.
Oh no, I think he makes at least the two things. I don't even know if I finished season 1 of Twin Peaks. I don't think I did.
Okay. Well, I was probably an era where there were possibly longer seasons too. Like I feel like shows back in the day had these 20 plus episodes.
Yeah.
Deals,
probably lost me in like a little slump, like a little bit of a filler episode was the last one I watched or something. I don't know. I can't quite remember. I remember it being really weird. But definitely a vibe. You know what I mean? Cool.
For sure.
I think that's cool. I think that's cool when people can, have the ability to like make that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Creative forces. So I think he's a cool filmmaker. Just from what little bit I know of him. He attempted to make Dune. It didn't. There was an attempt, and it didn't.
I mean, he went for it. Like
he went for it, right?
He swung for the fences, and maybe he came up empty, but hey,
the swing counts exactly. So that's it. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So next in our in memoriam section for this episode, screenwriter and producer Roberto Orci passed away at age 51, which is obviously very young, very sad. Had a battle with kidney disease. So maybe not a name that you would recognize, or perhaps even our listeners might recognize, but this guy was the fucking golden ticket in Hollywood for probably our childhood, I think is probably the fairest way of putting it, like you and I, like our childhood. He was a screenwriter and producer, and he worked on movies like, and this is like basically a span from like 2005 to 2014 is probably where like the biggest run here. So
solid
just running
decade.
down the list.
Yeah.
The Island, Michael Bay's The Island was a screenwriter. The Legend of Zorro, Antonio Banderas.
No, that's a classic.
Screenwriter. Co-wrote it, and he co-wrote most of these with writing partner Alex Kurtzman as well. So credit there. Then 2006, Mission Impossible 3. 2007, the first Transformers, Michael Bay, a clear Michael Bay collaborator. 2009, co-wrote the Star Trek J.J. Abrams reboot, sort of thing. Followed that up with Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. How about this? The movie you haven't thought about in a long, long time. Johnny V's Cowboys and Aliens with Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford. And then 2013, Star Trek Into Darkness, following up another JJ Star Trek. And then 2014, I think kind of where the road sort of ends, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is not a great film. In fact, many of these movies are not great films, but I think I have a special place in my heart for a lot of these movies because, like I said, it's kind of our childhood, right? You think about like that first Transformers probably would have been high school for us.
It did a lot.
Star Trek.
Transformers did a lot for the genre too. I mean, it's a classic blockbuster, summer blockbuster, cool, And like that first one, it's not great. It's totally okay,
it's totally entertaining. It's totally okay. The second one's shit, but it was like, when you were in 11th grade or whenever it came out, like it was like, entertaining. Like you could probably still, you're at that age where you're like, this does kind of suck, doesn't it? But like, you just let yourself over to the big robots. They're turning into a big Constructicon thing.
Yeah, cool.
You're like questioning why the robots have testicles now, or why the one's like a bit racist. Like, why is that one a little racist? Why does it have a gold tooth? It's a little questionable. It's a little sketchy. What's going on here? Those sorts of things. The questions creep into your mind. But at the same time, you're young enough that you can put those aside and be like, yeah, but I watched it in IMAX and it was pretty cool though. He also worked on the TV show Fringe. Hawaii Five-0, Lock and Key, Netflix show.
Xena?
Is it different Lock and Key? Different Lock and Key was a pilot that never got made, which was then later into a Netflix show. I looked at the time and I was like, that's not right. Writer on Xena, Warrior Princess. So pretty impressive. Like I said, really that run right there was really, really impressive.
He was getting paid too, boy. He must have, he had some paychecks coming in. He helped define an entire decade of filmmaking, of summer blockbusters. Like an era of blockbusters. This guy left his stamp on it, which is impressive. All right, so maybe the quality of those movies is questionable, but take
it's undeniable.
Exactly.
That that's an era of filmmaking that is memorable. So there's that. I mean, I wrote a whole diatribe about how much I hate The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And maybe it wasn't his fault because he co-wrote it with like 7 other people. Maybe his portions were good. His portions were the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man bits where, he's being quippy and stuff, and that's fine. He didn't write the Electro or Paul Giamatti Rhino stuff. Who's to say? But anyway, I said not a name that maybe pops off the page immediately.
Kidney disease too.
You look at his stuff, and and age 51 is just too young. That's really sad.
You got 2 of those things, man. What are how does that?
He got all that money, and he doesn't have a lifetime to spend it all. That sucks. That sucks to see.
That's pretty awful. Comes for us all, though, I suppose, right?
So rest in peace to Roberto Orci. It does eventually, but you hope that it's not sooner rather than later. You hope to have quite a bit more time than certainly 51 affords you, but. That is how it goes sometimes. So, And I guess that's really true for our next person to talk about, Michelle Trachtenberg. Man, this one was out of nowhere. Age 39. Really sad story. So I think she had some, liver issues that she had surgery or treatment for, and it sounds like maybe she passed away from complications related to that. So liver transplant. She had a liver transplant that I think that. Yeah. So,
her.
And so
I just pulled up her
39
picture.
years old, and yeah. So this is a name you're like, okay, but then you recognize her because she was in a lot of things, certainly from probably our younger childhood, even more so than that era I just described or that we just talked about. So you're talking movie side, you're talking Euro Trip, going even further back. Her debut was in Harriet the Spy. You might remember that. You might have watched that back in the day. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She played Dawn, who is Buffy's younger sister, who entered the series and a few seasons in, but then became a mainstay of the show. Gossip Girl, she had a big role in as well, which I can't say that I watched myself, but obviously it was certainly a memorable show for many folks. So yeah, I mean, I don't think she had been acting a whole lot recently, but again, for a span of time there was very, very active, particularly on TV. Yeah, I mean, 39 that's just fucking tragic. That's just too young. I mean, we're not that far off 39, if you put that into perspective, and it's like, you think, well, fuck, I'm getting old, but then you're like, yeah, but I'd like to live another 50, 60 years, I hope, and so when you just see something like this, it really, yeah, it hits home, I think. So
what just complications with the liver transplant? Do we know?
I think so. I know because her family is Jewish, they didn't do a full autopsy. So there doesn't seem to be any sort of suspicion of, foul play, anything suspicious about it. And it just, yeah, I think it seems the most likely scenario is something related to the liver transplant that she had. Which, at the same time, hope you don't need a liver transplant in your 30s either, so
brutal.
Yeah, just really sad, really, really sad story. So rest in peace to Michelle Trachtenberg as well. And then that brings us to our last person to talk about, and I have to say this is a really, really sad story. Which, on the page, Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman was found dead, age 95. That alone, okay, 95. I think, what we've established and what we've talked about in the past is, hey, if you make it to the 90s, 95 years old, fuck yeah. That's, you've lived a life. You've lived a life. You never want to go, of course, but 95, you make it to 95, you got to feel pretty good about it. What you don't feel good about are the circumstances around Gene Hackman's death, which are really, really, well, first of all, they were really, really strange.
A lot of sketch going on here, yeah.
Some sketch. So what happened, just to sort of break it down, is he hadn't been heard from in a little while. Neither he nor his wife, and so I think staff or security basically was trying to check in on them and we can't find them. And ultimately they once police were called, once authorities were called and investigated, they found Gene Hackman dead in his house, but they also found his wife dead there as well, and she was only 64, which, is not an age that you would ordinarily tend to find someone dead at home from. And they also found a dog. They had 3 dogs, and one of the dogs had died as well. So it was like, what the fuck happened here? There was a lot of speculation of whether there's maybe carbon monoxide poisoning, because it just seems like sudden death like that, for multiple people would make sense. But then why is only 1 dog alive and 2 are, or why is only one dog dead and then 2 are alive? Like that's weird. And so they ruled out carbon monoxide. There weren't any traces of it. And it's been long enough now that I think this was initially reported around the end of February, and now we know a little bit more about it. And basically what happened, and this is not fun news, this is really fucked up and sad, is that his wife had died from something called hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which is just a respiratory disease that took her. And Gene Hackman was 95 years old. He had severe heart disease, but he also had advanced Alzheimer's. And so it's kind of believed that he didn't know what had happened, and he didn't understand like how to basically handle his wife's death, or if her health was declining and she needed help. Like he wasn't in a place where he himself could even
that's awful. That's terrible.
Render aid or call for help for her, for himself, for his animals and stuff like that. So like just horrible, horrible way to go. So, you take a step back from, 95, and you look at the whole picture and it's like, fuck, man, that's, that one just hurts your heart to read about, to hear about.
So wife passed away, leaving Gene there, and Gene can't take care of himself either. So did he have a heart attack? Maybe?
I mean, we're piecing it together from what we know. And I don't know specifically exactly. It says he died from severe heart disease, and he also had apparently kidney disease as well. So he may have been,
just unable to take care of himself.
Maybe he's not feeding himself properly. Maybe he's not, taking care of himself right, because
medications and stuff,
capable of it, medications and stuff like that. So obviously, there's some physiological things happening there that are probably obviously were not good. But just the whole circumstances are just really, really shitty. Very, very odd situation that obviously is just, at the end of the day, just very, very tragic. And it's a really sad end for someone who was a really prolific actor in Hollywood. Took home 2 Academy Awards, first for The French Connection, and then later for Unforgiven, supporting actor, and Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven.
Yeah.
But starred in a lot of movies. Memorable turn as Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeve Superman films from 1978 to 1987. Hoosiers, Wyatt Earp, Crimson Tide, a lot more movies. A lot of stuff that people would have seen Gene Hackman in. And just a fantastic actor who worked from 1961, retired I think around 2004. So worked for 40 plus years in Hollywood. Retired from acting, started writing novels, providing narration for documentaries and stuff like that. So he still was generally pretty active, obviously, until probably the later years for his life. I do want to, I'll first ask you, I don't know if you have any Gene Hackman movies or anything that stand out to you, anything you want to add here before I talk about something else.
The biggest one's probably Unforgiven. I know that one pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bonnie and Clyde?
No, never saw that.
Apparently he's in it. Mississippi Burning, apparently in that as well.
Never saw that
so
one.
So many
either.
things. You can name a random movie. There's a
chance.
I mean, there's a decent chance. Enemy of the State. You'd be right.
I have seen that
Shorty.
one. Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, it's just I didn't know all the details of his passing. Him and his wife and their dog. It's that's really rough to listen to.
Yeah. Not great. Yeah. Really, I mean, really sad. Really sad. This is the in memoriam section. This is the time on the podcast where we talk about things that are inherently going to be not great. They're going to be sad. They're going to be tragic. But yeah, I don't know. This is just really particularly sad, I think. Not to stack them up against each other and stuff like that, but just it just feels so indignant I don't know. For someone like Gene Hackman to go out this way just feels, I don't know.
Seems like they would have if you have a 65-year-old woman and you have Gene who's 95 years old with dementia or early onset Alzheimer's or real bad Alzheimer's, you think that you would have regular. I mean, how they were in their house for days before anybody noticed, right?
It was a while, I think.
Yeah, you think you would have
where are the kids? Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, I don't know. You know, like clearly people didn't have close enough contact that, you know, this sort of thing wasn't
you think
noticed,
you'd have at the very least
too late.
Home health aide coming in like
right, you don't
once every couple days or something, you know? I don't know.
There's a lot of things that you could point to of being like, maybe this could have been prevented, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, well, that's that. That's rough.
It's a lot of what ifs you could say, a lot of what ifs you could argue about and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just not a good deal, not a good deal at all. So before we move on to our headlines and trailers, of which we only have a handful, Bruce Brown, longtime listener of the show, may or may not be related to me. I'll let the listeners speculate on that one. Sent in an email, and so I'm going to do an edition of the Listener's Corner here, which I recognize is maybe a little odd, but he sent in a Listener's Corner email specifically about Gene Hackman, so this is the place to do it. He said he always liked Gene Hackman, and he listed some must-watch movies. So these are some recommendations, so, you know, if you're feeling kind of what we were talking about with David Lynch, like, oh, I should watch some movies, you know, for this person that, you know, was no longer with us, and now they're top of mind. We're thinking about, you know, their work that they did for decades in Hollywood. Here are some options. Must-watch movies include, some of these we've already mentioned, to be fair, but I'm going to mention them again. Unforgiven, one of his all-time favorites. Crimson Tide, also another favorite. Hoosiers, No Way Out, A Bridge Too Far, The Firm, The Quick and the Dead,
The Firm,
Mississippi Burning, and The French Connection. French Connection, classic. Again, that's what he won one of his Oscars for, Best Actor for that. The French Connection. So those are some options. So if you're feeling some Gene Hackman, you know, have a watch of some of those things. For me, it was kind of like when this was first reported, was only within days of me watching the documentary about Christopher Reeve, you know, which is obviously the Superman movies that he was in, and he's the Lex on that side. You know, the timing was just like, oh man, you know, it's just, again, it could have been anything. You could have watched any given movie, and it probably was, you know, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from being a Gene Hackman movie, or just, you know, 1 or 2 degrees. But you know, like, yeah. So really, really, really talented, prolific actor. You know, you hope he make it to 95, but you hope he leave this world on better terms than it sounds like Mr. Hackman did. And so just really, really, really awful. So very tragic for, obviously his family, the children, the whole family, and everyone dealing with that, losing a dog. I mean, you know, obviously, I don't know, just really, really sad, really, really sad. So rest in peace to Gene Hackman, to his wife Betsy, Arakawa as well. Yeah, really sad. But now we can move out of the in memoriam section, and talk about some headlines and trailers if you would like to do that.
Yeah,
because you probably need a little pick me up after that. That was a whopper. That was a whopper.
Of like
20 plus minutes of just here's some sad shit for you. Because, you know, the thing is, when we record this podcast, it's usually like kind of a neat escape from the sad shit that I'm reading about on my phone every fucking day.
Every minute we get minute to minute shit. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. So sorry to do that to you, but we're gonna reel it back, and I think we're gonna feel good after we talk about a few things. And I think the first thing is definitely something that's gonna get you pretty excited for some stuff to look forward to in the future. So 2 headlines, 2 trailers. Like I said, loosely thematically, these are things that, hey, maybe could be future awards contenders themselves. You know, could be an Oscar, could be an Emmy, could be something along those lines. So Robert Eggers, you know this man. You've heard of this man. You might have seen a movie called Nosferatu that he directed recently.
Yeah.
You might have placed it as your number 2 film of 2024, as I did. And wouldn't you know it, he is not retiring from Hollywood. He is making more movies, and now we know what he's going to make. And he's got not 1, but 2 projects already lined up. So,
very exciting.
First up, he is going to be taking on another horror creature genre film in a movie called Werwulf.
No.
So, WERWULF. A werewolf horror project that he is going to direct. He has also co-written it. Yeah.
What's it all about?
He's reteaming with Universal, who he worked with on Nosferatu. This is set for a North American release on, wait for it, Christmas Day, 2026. Son of a bitch did it again. He co-wrote this with Sean, who he co-wrote The Northman with. Icelandic poet, novelist, lyricist, and screenwriter. Details are scarce, but sources say it's set in 13th century England. The script features dialogue true to the time period with translations and annotations for those uninitiated in Old English.
Oh, man. They're going for it.
Was Once Upon a Time going to be shot in black and white, but it sounds like that's no longer the case. But I mean, like Nosferatu was like pseudo black and white at points, you know, so I think it's going to be similar sort of palette to that. Promises another deep dive in a muddy, costumed, and violent time period. Which is what he's kind of done a lot of, to great effect. Obviously, Nosferatu being a very recent great example of that. So, how are you feeling about Werewolf?
I think I think that's perfect.
I mean, it sounds very much like a thing he would do and fucking own it, you know. So I'm hell yeah. Like, it sounds like the most Robert Eggers, you know, project to Robert Eggers, but. let Dr. Eggman bring us some fucking werewolf shit. I'm super fucking pumped for that.
Yeah. I mean, all of his movies are period pieces, but he has a very...
I think he said, like, he's like, I don't want to do shit with phones in it. Like, that doesn't interest me. I want to go fucking backwards, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good. It's in good hands. Couldn't be more excited. I was pretty excited about that werewolf movie that came out.
The Wolfman?
Wolfman. Yeah, I was pretty excited about that one. Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I heard it was not.
It's either streaming or very close to streaming. So,
I mean, when's the last time you got a good werewolf movie? What's the best werewolf movie you can think of? Probably Van Helsing.
Or recently.
Probably Van Helsing.
Could be Van Helsing. Yeah. Could be Van Helsing. That one's a classic for sure.
Can you think of a good werewolf movie?
Period or recently?
It is period. What's that period? What's the best werewolf movie? Which, like, I think a lot. I mean, I like vampire stuff more than werewolf stuff, but
okay,
it's all kind of lumped into the same kind
American
of thing.
Werewolf
right?
in London.
That's a classic.
That's
classic.
You know, and that's now been what 50 years since that came out. I don't know. I guess the original 1930s Wolfman. I don't know, man. It feels I feel like I've heard good things about. I think maybe is it Dog Soldiers. Maybe I think it's a werewolf movie, but I've never seen.
I've never seen.
I've heard good things about a few that I haven't seen, and like the ones that I have seen have been like, oh, like they're like fine, you know. Like I think even the Benicio del Toro Wolfman, it was like fine as I recall. I've only seen it probably once or twice.
Yeah, I
haven't revisited it since basically around the time it came out. So I don't know. That's another bonus episode of a
werewolf movie.
Get some werewolf shit going.
Yeah,
I feel like we haven't. Yeah, I don't know
because I can't honestly think of one really.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I see werewolves and things. Like I'm trying to think of like what have I seen werewolves and I'm like, well, they're in Harry Potter.
Oh, and they're also in Underworld.
What We Do in the Shadows. Underworld. That's another classic. Yeah. Van Helsing-esque, but probably actually a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit better, yes.
I mean...
That's probably, honestly...
No one's watching Underworld for the werewolves. I mean, come on now. But
you have the American Werewolf in London. Yeah,
maybe a sequel to that. I think it's... I don't know if I've seen...
And it's interesting, too, because I think werewolves is very much a North American, like, lore thing, isn't it?
like folklore thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Seems like... I think it's like a Native American thing. I don't know.
Could be. Well, those are the sorts of things that we could...
Definitely talk
dig into
about.
A little bit.
Yeah, that'd be a good bonus episode.
Yeah,
especially maybe leading up. Maybe that's why don't we do werewolves this year for Halloween?
Oh,
for our
pencil it in.
Yeah,
I don't think we did a Halloween one last year.
I don't think we
we're
did.
due. I think we're due. I think we're due for that. I think we're due for a bonus episode, period.
Yeah,
but
right.
we're definitely due for another Halloween one this year. I like it. I think that's a good plan because it's clear that there's either a bunch of shit movies or we just haven't watched the right ones.
That's it.
So I think it could be as simple as that. So it'll build hype for Werewolf, but we're not done here. Robert Eggers has another project lined up.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking sequel to the 1986 cult fantasy film Labyrinth. He is going to write and direct a sequel to Jim Henson's Labyrinth, which is, I think, a Werewolf sounds like Robert Eggers through and through. Totally. This is fucking interesting, I mean, like in the same way of just like, or same but different way of like the other one. Oh, hell yeah, more Eggers shit. I'm super down for that. This, I'm like, okay, Robert Eggers getting his hand into something a little bit different. It's not a Marvel movie. It's not a DC movie. So it's not like full on, like I'm just selling out and doing the big studio movie. But this is definitely more along those lines than I think a Werewolf is.
For sure.
But
it's a tall order. I mean, he's definitely
his sense of like he could bring some really interesting sensibilities to this. As long let Eggman cook, and I think you could get something. Because here's the thing: is like with something like this, it's just like, do you need this? Do you need a sequel to Labyrinth?
No.
Like the answer is like no, I don't think so. But if you are going to do it, you're so committed to doing it. Getting someone like Robert Eggers to do it. That interests me.
I feel like you're either going to get Eggers or you're going to get Benicio del Toro. But not Benicio del Toro. Guillermo del Toro.
His brother.
Yes.
Guillermo del Toro, yes. All the del Toros are related. They're all distant cousins, actually. To be fair, I said Benicio at least once or twice in this episode, so he's top of mind.
But yeah, I think, I think it's a good get. It's going to push him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, give me some more puppets and shit. Obviously, no David Bowie this time around. So you're going to be missing that. Jennifer Connelly could come back. I don't know where you go with it. But
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
I haven't seen that one in a long time either. But if they actually make this damn thing, I will happily rewatch Labyrinth. And
that'd be a fun one to watch with the baby too. Be a good one.
Yeah. Scare that shit out of him a little bit, but not in like a straight up horror sort of way, in like a, oh my God, this is kind of fucked sort of way. And it's like, are children allowed to watch this? Are they supposed to watch this? And it's like, yeah, it's supposed to kind of like psychologically traumatize children,
That's
like
the whole
point. It's a little bit intended. It's like, it's not actually like horror, but there's some weird shit going on, man. So yeah, hey, sign me up. I will watch whatever Robert Eggers wants to do at this point, is how I feel about it. So, he wants to make a fucking period werewolf movie, and he wants to make a Labyrinth sequel.
Good for him.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever, man. Whatever. So yeah, that's what we got on the Robert Eggers front. Our second and last headline, before we move on to some trailers, concerns another auteur, another very, very talented filmmaker, Mr. Christopher Nolan. You've heard of him, maybe. You maybe seen some of his movies, perhaps. Maybe you've seen Batman Begins. Maybe you've seen The Dark Knight Rises. Maybe you've seen Insomnia or Memento or other movies. Maybe a movie called Oppenheimer. It's about a guy that built a bomb. Maybe not just one, maybe two bombs, you could say. Christopher Nolan, we've talked about him a lot recently because he's making a movie called The Odyssey.
Oh my God, you shut your mouth.
We followed it as the cast was building.
Shut your mouth.
As we finally got the reveal of what the hell it was, and holy shit, it's a fucking adaptation of Homer. And I can tell you right now, this will not be our last update on it. Maybe it'll be our last update until we get a trailer for it. It's coming July 17th of 2026, so it's still more than a year away, but production is officially underway. Filming has started in Morocco. They'll be headed to Sicily to film there as well.
On location.
We got a first look at Mr. Matt Damon as Odysseus, and he seems to be wearing some armor and kind of classic Roman looking shit. Not Roman, some classic Greek shit. Anna
would be appalled.
I know. I mean, technically, the Greek, the myth, the Greek mythology is that they then formed Rome, right? Is another thing.
I think so.
Way,
yeah.
This is why we need her on here, because I'm like, Greeks, Romans are the same, right? Well, they're not. They're not. I've corrected myself. I recognize my mistake. All right, it's important to recognize your own mistakes.
That's right.
You can accept when you're wrong and learn from your mistakes. It's something that you can teach.
It's part of growth. Yes.
Yeah. So we got that first look at him, but we also have way more people that have been added to the cast. So I can't go through them all because we do have to talk about the Oscars at some fucking point. But I can tell you that some of those actors include John Bernthal, who maybe you've seen recently in Daredevil Born Again as a certain Mr. Frank Castle. Elliott Page, who has worked with Nolan in the past in Inception.
Do we know who these people are playing?
We don't know who anyone's playing except for, I think, Matt Damon and Tom Holland right now. I think Matt Damon is Odysseus and Tom Holland is his son.
Okay.
So I think
Fuck me, dude. This is going to be nutty.
There's been some rumors about like who's going to be playing who, because like I think that he's going full like the gods will be involved in it. You know, like I don't think it's going to do it how Troy did it, where it's like the gods aren't really involved. Like I think some of these people are actually legit playing gods. So I think maybe Lupita is playing Athena, Lupita Nyong'o maybe, or it could be Charlize Theron. Like no one knows who the fuck is anyone's playing. Like Anne Hathaway is probably Odysseus' wife, Penelope. But yeah, I think Tom Holland is Telemachus, if I say that right, and that's another thing that Anna would be very helpful for. But either way, those are some of the cast members that have joined. In addition to Cosmo Jarvis from Shogun. Shogun's very own Cosmo Jarvis is here. So many more. So and like I mean this movie is just even though they keep filming, they keep adding more people into it. So.
This is the kind of movie that a studio makes like once in a lifetime. It's this is going to be a generational movie. You heard it here first. We've got.
I'm in support of this.
What's that epic? Can't think of it. Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence of Arabia. Yes.
Okay. It's going to be something like that. Get all the biggest stars on a timeless epic story. This is going to be I have really high expectations for this movie. He's also changed. He's like made his own camera or something. Epics. You know about that? He's doing something with the cameras. It's supposed to be new.
I know he's using like IMAX cameras, but he's always doing something different, trying to refine that technology. So I don't know specifically what he's doing, but I wouldn't be surprised by him, pushing the boundaries on what's possible with film and stuff. So he's that kind of filmmaker,
I heard some people bitching about the armor that they see Matt Damon in. I think there's the question of like, is this actually what theoretically would have been worn at the time? And I think the answer is almost certainly no. But I don't know, man. Because it's like leather armors. Is that what we're? I think. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the complaint is. I couldn't specifically identify it. I have seen it as levied as a complaint. But I don't know specifically. Like I've seen like this is what it would look like, and it's like a totally different looking thing. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know. So that's a thing where certainly Anna would probably be more helpful than either. Certainly more than me. Probably still obviously better than you, but I think you're more into this world than I think I am at this point. So from what little bit of reading I've got is you would expect like 300 style armor with the quote the polygon, which they're quoting someone else I think here, but they're talking about 300 with fewer bare chests or Brad Pitt and Troy. Talking about having like a breastplate, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. We have a one. I'm seeing the red plume. I guess is something that is maybe not quite accurate to what. But guess what? He would have worn. But it looks pretty fucking cool. Like I like it. Look, I mean, at the end of the day,
this is based off of an epic poem, which is itself not.
Are you saying it's kind of fictional?
Right. I mean, like, yeah, like it's, you're talking about, the gods being involved and stuff like that. Like, I do think that, like, there's an element where you can just kind of
take liberties with things
through the lens of saying, like, all right, it's not going to be 100% or 100% historically accurate. Like, that's just not, that doesn't really make sense, but I think the question is, how accurate is it going to be to the text? And I guess what I am seeing from a very quick Google is it is described in the text of what Odysseus might be wearing, which is not this. So I guess there's at least that element of it. So I don't know. But either way, it's an adaptation. Look,
I think it's going to be good.
We enjoyed it. Also not, 100%, correct adaptation of the Iliad. So like, it is what it is. So, hey, it's Christopher Nolan. Much like Robert Eggers, let the man cook. All right, if he's getting all these fucking people on board, something's happening here.
That's right.
Like, let him do something. Like, yeah, I mean, the very things that we praised Mr. Denis Villeneuve, Denis Villeneuve for Dune, like, great adaptation.
Oh my gosh!
Is it a page perfect adaptation? No, it is not. But sometimes changes can be made, and sometimes changes can be made for the better, or at least for the better of what a film is going to give to you, as opposed to the written text. So I don't know. Christopher Nolan has earned my loyalty. I think I want to see what he gives to me, and I think he's going to give us something, even if it's not 100% faithful. So I think.
We were on the side note of Denny. We were playing trivia, and my sister-in-law, she doesn't know who he is. And when she read his name out loud, she read it Denis Villeneuve, and I was
hell
like,
yeah,
yes. It was awesome. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was so funny.
If you didn't know that he was French, I mean, like at first glance, the E and the U, they can easily be confused, and read them out of order. Villeneuve, man, that's Denis Villeneuve is a fucking badass name. I'm not saying Denis Villeneuve is not a badass name, but it's a French ass sounding name, and Denis Villeneuve just has a real something to it. But we put some respect on his name at this point, so we call him Denny. We call him Denny for short because that's what us white folk are able to say comfortably without fucking it up too much. So, us white American folk, I guess, to be clear. So yeah, there you go. That's the Odyssey. We'll check back in. Well, either when more cast members are announced, when we get more set pictures, maybe when we get more images released, but probably most likely when there's a trailer, which will probably be many months down the road. So it'll always be swelling around in our brain. But for now, we must put it to the side and talk about a couple trailers for some TV shows that, earlier iterations of these TV shows have been critical darlings, and it's very possible that these next iterations of them will be as well. So first up, The Last of Us Season 2. We have an official trailer for it. We have talked about it, I think, at least on our Look Ahead episode, possibly one other time, and probably just generally just because it comes up. But only a couple weeks away, April 13th, Last of Us is returning to Max, to HBO. And I don't know. Are you ready? Are you emotionally ready for it?
I don't know if I am, to be honest with you. It's a heavy one, dude.
Does this trailer get you hyped, or is it like, oh man, like I know I got a strap in, and I don't know if I'm ready for it yet. Like where are you at mentally with this based on the trailer?
I'm excited to watch some really, really riveting television. So I mean, I'm pretty
like. You don't get excited to watch Chernobyl, but it's whenever the next time you watch it, you'll know it's going to be fucking incredible.
Absolutely. I'm real excited about this one too because this is one Sarah really likes.
Okay.
So we're both really pumped to watch it.
Good communal watch.
Yeah. We don't get a whole lot of those, so
nice.
I'm real excited about this one too.
Yeah.
We started Severance. on Enrique's recommendation, and maybe have you seen it? You haven't seen it, have you?
I haven't. It's on my list.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
As are many things.
So we just started that, and we agreed that that's going to try to be a communal watch as well. Anyways, I am excited about this show. This show ended with a doozy. It was frequently a doozy. And I think we're probably going to get more of the same.
But it good punchy ending that, season 2, based off of obviously the video game part 2, which I think in itself was controversial, I think, for the story directions that it took, which I can't really speak about too much, having still not played that game, although I'm really hoping to at least start it before this comes back. I don't know. I'm just so excited to see where they do. I'm so excited to see where these characters go, where the story goes, how it all progresses, and just the filmmaking is just, I don't know. That first season was really special, and I think that
it was.
For me, it was like almost a perfect basically a perfect adaptation of the video game. That again, to harp on these sorts of things, was not a 1-to-1 adaptation, but where it was incredible, and where it made changes, like the Bill and Frank stuff, like holy fuck, like they maybe elevated material, So I have to think that with basically the same talent back for this one, there's no reason to think that this isn't just going to continue the trend of what that first season was and just continue to be incredible. I'm really, and I guess excited's not the best word, but I'm really looking forward to it. Okay. Like I guess that's maybe what I would say is I'm really looking forward to it, because I know that we're going to be in for something really special. Or at least I hope. And obviously if we're not, that will be disappointing, but I have faith in Craig Mazin, Neil Druckmann, and
got no reason to doubt.
More of the same, and the best way possible. So April 13th, this will debut. It'll be a weekly release of 7 episodes in this season. So it'll run through May 25th. So come two-ish months from now, we'll probably be talking about it. Probably be talking about that whole season. We'll probably be talking about it throughout, because I do want to watch it as it airs as well. But I think we'll almost certainly be doing an episode on season 2 once it's all wrapped up. So, any other thoughts on The Last of Us season 2?
No, it looks more of the same. Just to say that it looks like it's going to be really freaking good.
Which is a good thing. Which in this case is a good thing. Well, then let's move on to our final thing.
I have to say, I don't know if they can. I don't know if they'll be able to beat the first 3 minutes of the first episode of Last of Us. That is how it has to have one of the most badass intros for a show ever. It's so good. The debate thing going on.
As the game did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that. Oh right, yeah, literally that. I see. Yeah, I see. Well, okay. That was like was that the second episode? Maybe I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, it was incredible. Anyways.
Either way, fucking incredible first season. But anyway, yes. Moving on to our last thing. Something that has had some really, really incredible episodes in the past, and maybe there will be 6 more of them. In season 7 of Black Mirror, it's back. It's back, or at least it will be back. April 10th, it will be back with 6 brand new episodes, and what appears to be some follow-up episodes to some previous some episodes. We're getting a USS Callister follow-up, maybe a Bandersnatch follow-up. It would look like from the casting and appearances of some of these actors. 6 more, fucking incredible cast. Obviously, leading things here in series. We call it season in America, but it's a series because it's a British show technically. I think you're caught up on Black Mirror, maybe?
I am, yeah.
I am not. I have to say I've only seen most of the early seasons and then parts of some of the others. So I'm definitely very behind on this. But the beauty of Black Mirror is, except for I guess apparently these follow-up episodes, you can generally watch them in any order and I think be able to appreciate them. For the merits of what each episode particularly offers because of the anthology style. So, how you feeling about this upcoming? Oh, isn't that funny? Wikipedia calls it Series 7. Netflix, because it's an American uploaded Netflix version, calls it Season 7. So it actually is season in America here, but not elsewhere. So either way, how are you feeling about it?
I'm real excited. I think one of the cool things is how how loose the universe is kind of connected. You know, so like little technologies and stuff are present in other episodes, or they're built upon in other episodes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And I think that's pretty cool. This Black Mirror for me is almost like it's real topical. It's you know, it's
for sure.
It's out.
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, Black Mirror is, again, as the original reference is, it's your phone screen, right? That's kind of the idea. But you know, it's
yeah.
I guess what perils of technology, perils of just, I don't know, not paying attention to the fucking world around you, I guess.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think all the episodes are real thought invoking. And I think it's it's almost like a modern, I think that this show is made with it's almost like Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? Twilight Zone.
It's like modern day Twilight Zone. There literally was a modern day Twilight Zone, but Black Mirror kind of did it first before even that came around.
I think
with
so.
The Jordan Peele one.
Yeah, you know, just it's some of it's kind of outlandish, but not really. You know, you could see a future where things like this happen, and it's I don't know. It's really good. The quality
look at this
of
dystopian future, except it kind of just feels like real life.
Yeah, it just feels like home.
It's like slightly like, it's like 1 decibel or 1 degree removed from reality. It's just like, oh, this is totally different. It's just like all these things just make so much sense, and it's like, yeah, but what if you just thought about those things and put them in your own life?
Right.
I don't know.
I think
great cast they've lined up here, that's for sure.
And it's always that way. It's almost like that way. It's like, hey, you want to play an episode in Black Mirror, and the answer is always, yeah, I would. Yeah. You know, because they always pull in some major talent.
They do. We got Peter Capaldi, Emma Corrin, Paul Giamatti, the Rhino, Rashida Jones, Awkwafina. Who else? Who else is in this? Kristen Milioti, Issa Rae, Tracy Ellis Ross, Will Poulter's back.
Yeah.
There's just so many. There's so many good actors. But yeah, fucking Black Mirror. I really I owe it to myself to just fucking run through them all. I don't know if that's a bad way to watch it. It's just like,
I mean, you
watch
probably
20 episodes back to back to back, but maybe if I space them out, you know, like I'm not going to be able to catch up before this new season anyway, but maybe this is a good impetus to watch the ones that I haven't seen before. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if you watch an episode of Last of Us, right, on Monday or Sunday or whatever day it comes out, and just make it your like Tuesday show or Wednesday show, you know?
Yeah, I could do that. Severance on Wednesday, Daredevil on Thursday. I don't know. You know, just keep the whole calendar filled. Anora on Friday.
Yeah, that sounds like a good week.
All right, well, that does it for our headlines and trailers. So, lots of things to look forward to. Lots of things we are looking forward to. And now we get to talk about something else entirely. We get to talk about the 97th Academy Awards. And here to join us to talk about the 97th Academy Awards, it's Anna Mattis.
Sup, it's me.
It's Anna.
You sound so excited to be here.
Woo!
It's not my typical enthusiasm for the Oscars fully. I'm more excited for the second part, or the main focus.
Well, we will get there. I've cheated up for the listeners earlier that we're not going to be doing the same exhaustive coverage of the Oscars as we've done in years past.
Yeah, because they fucking suck now.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, I think...
Why do they suck? Let's get into it.
I think let's get into it. That's what we're here to do. So talk about it. Like, what was it about this year particularly that maybe wasn't doing it for you?
Well, I mean... not to pick on it, but Amelia Perez.
The 13 nominations didn't impress you?
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like the concept sounds interesting and it's groundbreaking and it's like weird and it's different, and so they automatically thought, oh, this must be cinema.
I don't know.
Well, it's cinema that isn't good. Wait, like you don't know what the movie is, or you're like?
No, I actually thought that when we were talking about watching Anora, I thought we were talking about watching Amelia Perez, and I was like, okay.
Oh fuck no. No.
So I actually legitimately do not know anything about that
Amelia Perez.
Yes.
So Amelia Perez is and I will say, like, when I first like heard the synopsis, saw the cast, I thought, oh, that sounds really good. It's Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana and
Carla
Sofia
Gascon.
Gascon plays the main role, and she plays a drug leader, like, of a cartel in Mexico, and she's a trans woman playing a trans woman. Selena Gomez plays her wife, and then Zoe Saldana is like,
isn't she the lawyer?
She's like I don't know if she's actually a lawyer, but she's there to like deal with the custody.
Things you might know if you watch Emilia Perez, but then you would have to watch Emilia Perez, and therein lies the problem.
I thought it looked really interesting, and then I found out it was a musical.
The classic
and
hidden musical kind of deal.
Yeah, and that confused me. And early on, when I was hearing like people I trust and critics I trust like talk about it, they were basically like, this would be a better movie if it wasn't trying to be a musical, because the music is like either like jarring and like kind of takes you out of the moment, or it's just like not that good. And every clip I've seen of it just looks bad. And maybe the couple songs are good, and maybe the performances are good, but it doesn't look good. And also, every like community that this movie is about is like, what the fuck is this? Because Mexican people are like, what the fuck is this? Trans people are like, what the fuck is this? And it all makes sense because this film is made by a cis white French man. And
perfect.
So
perfect candidate to direct this. Yes.
Yeah. So I just didn't really feel the need to, watch something that people like, the people who didn't like it fucking hated it, and that apparently had just like bad and probably borderline offensive depictions of Mexicans and trans people, and I don't need it. I don't need it. And I love Zoe Saldana so much, and I good for her, she's talented, but God, she makes some really bad decisions in her casting. I loved her way back in her Center Stage days. She's fun in Pirates, she's great in Avatar, but like
Gamora.
I just think since her, like, I'm going to be Nina Simone and put on blackface, it's questionable. And this is also questionable. And I think the fact that every speech by a winner from this movie was fucking cringe, probably is, indicative of the people who made this movie. And even Zoe Saldana, like, I don't think she even mentioned trans people, or I don't even know if she mentioned Mexico in her speech. She's like talking about how she spoke Spanish, and she talks about her Dominican grandmother, but it's like, okay, so you also have offended these two groups of people and like aren't even properly like showing gratitude. So I don't know. Everything about this movie just looked fucking terrible, and I think the attention it was getting, and then whatever scandals of the main actress, past tweets that are racist and
I don't think we've really talked about that at all.
I don't think we need to talk about
I know, but I just like, I think it's
so irrelevant.
But I think it's important context, because you think about it coming into the Academy Awards, 13 nominations.
Yeah.
It's clear that this has momentum going into the process of the vote, like the voting process, but coming out on the other side, once the selections are actually made, once the winners are actually announced, it's clear that it has lost some momentum, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to that. But at least in part.
I think part of it too is like, you obviously
people just watch
have
the fucking movie and are like, oh, this sucks.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing, is that you have so many people who went in thinking, oh, this is going to be great, and maybe it is like I said, cinema. That doesn't mean it's good. And that's where like I feel like in some ways like that's what they did with Green Book, where they were like, oh, this is, this feels good and it's great actors and it's great performances.
Is that the one with Viggo Morton? Vigo?
Yeah.
Mahershala.
And then if you actually take a step back, it's like, that movie's fucking terrible. Like, it's not a good movie. It shouldn't have won. And that's how this, like, it felt like we were heading towards that with this. Like, that it was going to be like a Crash level, like the movie Crash, like, level of, you know, I don't know. It's not even really controversy because who fucking cares? But yeah. And then when it comes to it, where it's like, okay, well, at least it's, you know, it's about, you know, it's communities or identities that we don't necessarily always see on screen, and in a very different way, in a very cool way. And then it's like, oh yeah, and also this lead actress is like racist as fuck.
Oh man.
She also, this is what I was honestly the most maybe interesting, funniest, whatever. One of her tweets was like fucking shitting on Selena Gomez. Yeah. And it wasn't from that long ago. It was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Like, It wasn't, these tweets were not old. And I just, in this day and age, like, why are those still anywhere?
I mean, at a minimum, just delete them. Like,
yes, just delete your tweet.
There's
like,
probably a record of them somewhere. But
I just, yeah. So
try something.
Anyway, this was just one of many things that made me less excited for these Oscars. And I think also we're at this point where there's just the sheer amount of Best Picture nominees, I think, is always tricky. And maybe it's because we have more parity and more good films, but it just feels like there aren't like the focus, you know, that there necessarily has been in years past, where there's like a few big front runners. Like, you know, a lot of these felt like it could be anybody. But quite frankly, I was never going to take these Oscars fully seriously as soon as the nominations were announced, because without a doubt, the best score, and there's a lot of movies I haven't seen, I don't care. The best score of the year was Challengers.
That was a good one.
And they didn't even fucking nominate it. And they nominated Wicked. It's not an original score because it takes half its fucking melodies from the stage musical. And also, nobody watches Wicked and thinks, what a great score. You may think, what great music. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
then it's the songs. It doesn't have a great score. And it's also not original or whatever. Like, just the fact that Challengers wasn't... oh, and Amelia Perez, same thing. Like, okay, it's a musical.
Yes, it's a
that
musical.
Doesn't mean the score is good.
Score.
And so I just, you know... Also, God bless her, but Jesus fucking Christ, another Diane Warren nomination for Best Song, and yet we don't have, you know, times 10. Like, half the songs on Challenger should have been nominated. And I was never going to take it. Exactly. And I was never going to take it seriously. And, you know, my top two movies of the year, neither of them.
Yeah, just totally shut out.
Well, I guess two of my top three. You know, neither of them were even nominated.
Your top two as of when we did our 2024 A Year in Review Part 2, which is to say before you had watched a movie called Anora.
Yeah. So I was probably never going to take it seriously. I knew I wasn't going to watch The Substance. I knew I wasn't going to watch Nosferatu. The
Brutalist was too long. It was too brutal to get through.
Though? Well, I guess, I don't know. Are we going through every category? Do we need to go through every category?
I don't know if we need to go. Like I said, we're not going to do as exhaustive of a breakdown. We can certainly do the highlights and things that stand out to us.
Okay.
But do you want to?
I'll just go with some of my.
Do you want to talk about anything before we get into the winners, or you, like Conan was host? Do you want to talk about Conan? I thought he did a nice job.
Oh, I thought Conan was great. He's coming back next year. I thought he was good. I thought there were only a few places where I felt like it didn't quite hit. But mostly I thought he was good. He brought the right energy. He was funny. He was smart.
I really like Conan.
I do too.
Me too. I've always loved Conan though.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it's nice to see him in the spotlight like this.
Yeah. I think probably my main thing was like, can you say something other than I loved X film and blah blah blah. But like, come on. Get a little Did you actually? If you actually watch him, you can say something different from that. But mostly, I thought he was really good, and I look forward to seeing him next year. I think it's also kind of fun that Nikki Glaser is also coming back for Golden Globes, so we're going to have kind of two of the same hosts. And I thought they both were really good this year.
It's good choices for continuity for sure.
And I also like that Conan kind of acknowledged Nikki's hosting by doing a callback to one of her jokes at the Golden Globes by bringing in Adam Sandler and having him,
Chalamet.
Yeah. So I think it was fun. So,
did you see Conan taking the substance and then emerging in the very beginning of the Oscars?
No, I didn't see that.
Horrifying. And then climbs back in to get his shoe.
Yeah. Comes out missing a shoe. He has to go back in and dig around for it.
I will say, I guess if we want to talk ceremony before we talk winners.
Yeah, just general. And again, we don't need to, I know we've done the fashion report and all these other things in the past, but I figure if you want to do any of that stuff, let's do that now.
I'm doing a quick look over.
Transition seamlessly into Anora.
All right. So, probably the best part was the opening, which was Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande doing a Wizard of Oz, like The Wiz,
medley,
Wicked medley, and they both were fantastic. They both looked beautiful. They did a great job. It was beautiful, and I can't remember. I don't even know when I did this podcast. Did I talk about Wicked on this podcast at all? I don't even know where I am.
don't know that you've been on the podcast since we talked about the 96th Academy Awards. Which is to say roughly a year ago.
Jesus,
definitely not since we've moved.
Crazy.
We've now realized as we've been trying to set this up, and we're like, why is this mic here? This doesn't make sense.
Okay,
well,
you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if on our episode from last year I said something about I'm so fucking sick of seeing Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo doing stuff for Wicked. I'm not excited for it. It's going to be terrible.
They were doing too much. So it was fair
but
to say.
I've also come around because Wicked was fucking great. And they're both great, and it was a great movie, and I was not mad that it was nominated for Best Picture because, or that either of them were nominated for their performances. I thought they were great. I do think John Chu probably should have been nominated for director, but whatever, whole other thing. And so to have them open the show, because they're both incredibly talented. It was great staging, great song choices. It was great. I thought that was really well done, and then the rest of the musical numbers were fucking atrocious.
The James Bond one, particularly, was unnecessary. Number one, and
bad.
Number two, just fucking bad.
Just so bad, and they didn't need to do that. And if you're not gonna have the original songs performed or at least something played, just stop. We don't need it. The first, having songs from a Best Picture nominee sung by two women who were nominated for Best Actress in a lead and in a supporting role, that made sense. I'll take that. That's fine. The other shit, just no.
Yeah, a little too much fluff still. I think the whole thing still ended up running long, as it tends to do, but it's there's just so many ways that you could tighten this up and then, get rid of the
right.
The
and not by shortening
that.
certain people's speeches.
Right. Yeah. Let's cut people's speeches off and then let other people's speeches go for 6 minutes. I don't know.
That's pretty rough, right?
We'll come around to that. But yeah, I think when there's something where there's multiple people as the nominee, give them each a chance to speak. I don't think, I don't think that's unfair, and maybe it's that they don't each get the amount of a singular winner, but give them all a chance to speak.
Right. A little bit of grace would be appreciated,
correct.
especially
given what we will get. I guess we'll get. Well, no, fuck it. Let's get it out of the way because fuck him. Adrian Brody can go fuck himself.
Whoa.
Because why can't this man accept an Oscar like a normal fucking person?
Because he's Adrian Brody.
Yeah, and he fucking sucks. His first, I honestly, I keep trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and it's clear that he's a terrible person, in my opinion.
He likes to go on Instagram and be like, hey guys, I'm just soaking up the sunshine today.
I have not seen this, and I never want to. But I will point out that his first Oscar, and I can't really say whether that I honestly don't remember that performance. I just remember all the fucked up shit in that movie because it was fucking torture porn, and I have no interest in ever seeing The Pianist ever again. But also, yeah, that film was made by a rapist of children, and Adrian Brody chose to make a film with a man who raped children. So I'm already like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then he gets up there to accept that Oscar in whatever year that was. And he decides to like assault the woman handing it to him by, kissing Halle Berry without her consent. So what the fuck? Like that already.
We're not even getting into the SNL appearance of Adrian Brody that caused him to be subsequently banned, I think, from SNL for possibly forever.
What do you do about the video? What happened?
Oh, I think he was trying to do some like Rastafari shit.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Just,
again, everything I've learned about this man tells me that he fucking sucks. And, in this case, like, okay, he won Best Actor for The Brutalist, which, again, that movie is really fucking long, and I've heard some good things, but also we know that they used AI to fix accents. And so I don't know, unless we have some definitive confirmation that AI was not used on his accent, I don't think he should be allowed to be part of this category, let alone win it. But then on top of that, he gets up there and he could get up there and apologize to Halle Berry. She was there. He could have done something to be a decent human being. But instead he, on his way up there, gives his gum to his girlfriend, which was already fucking weird. Especially when you consider that she's the ex-wife of Harvey Weinstein. A whole other thing there, though. And then he gets up there and he talks for 5 minutes and 40 fucking seconds.
That's a long one.
Longest acceptance speech in Oscars history.
He set records?
And he spent almost 6 minutes.
He set records.
He spent almost 6 minutes saying nothing.
My boy
Nothing
Adrian is pushing the
nothing
boundaries.
Helpful. He hadn't printed anything out. He hadn't written anything down. He was just, this is my impression of Adrian Brody, his acceptance speech. Wow. Making this film
He talks like the sloths.
was so, it wasn't even... like he was doing that. Like he had not thought about this. He was not off. If you don't have anything to say, then get the fuck off the stage. And he started getting played off. And he said, no, stop that. I've been here before. I've done this before. And it's like, oh, then you should know that this is not what you should be doing. And we had seen people get played off without getting to say anything. And it was just so fucking disrespectful to the people watching, to the other nominees, to the other winners, to the producers of the show. It was so, if you have something to say, fine. Sean Baker, to his credit, he gets up there how many fucking times? And each time he has something new to say, he has something important to say. He's still keeping it short. He's talking really fast. He's trying to make it, whatever. This motherfucker gets up there with nothing to say, no apology for his past behavior, and just wants to fucking, stream of consciousness nothing into the mic for almost 6 minutes. And I got so fucking mad. I will not be watching The Brutalist.
You're not going to watch it because of Adrian Brody?
I refuse. Because fuck Adrian Brody. Unless there is a film that involves him getting punched in the face, I will not be watching anything else with Adrian Brody in it. Because I don't have time in this one short life and in my limited free time to give any attention or energy to fucking assholes, including Adrian Brody. There are way too many movies I want to see. No, fuck Adrian Brody. Everything about this made me so mad, so entitled, so fucking arrogant, so uninteresting and contributing nothing. Anyway, I would like to move on because fuck Adrian Brody. Any last words on Adrian Brody?
Well, I think that rant was about 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
And you know what? I've said a million times more important shit than Adrian Brody.
No, I actually have one actual thought. I wanted to play a game. It's called How Much Time is Allotted for an Acceptance Speech at the Oscars?
45 seconds?
That's a great guess. Andrew, do you have a different guess you want to offer?
Let's say 2 minutes.
Okay, it's 45 seconds. Anna was right. 45 seconds. He went nearly 5 minutes overtime.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, again, he can go fuck himself.
Just wanted to put it in perspective there.
Yeah.
No, I think that certainly covers it for Mr. Adrian Brody.
Moving on.
So yeah, I think I don't know.
You want to talk about good speeches?
I would say I guess we've sort of delved into the winners in a way, but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any strict order, so we can just jump around.
I think I'm just gonna kind of go into I'm gonna give my highlights before I talk about anything Anora won. To be honest, I mean, obviously I've talked a little about Sean Baker.
I think that's fine.
I thought Kieran Culkin gave a great speech. I cannot believe that this man who's given so many speeches over the last however many years for different wins still has something, again, new and interesting and funny to say. His stories about his wife are hilarious. He just seems like a good dude who you want to hang out with. And I also thought his performance was great.
This is an actor in a supporting role for A Real Pain,
which was the movie written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, as well as being the co-lead in that movie. And I thought,
I guess really the lead, because Kieran Culkin won for supporting.
Oh, true, supporting, yeah. So really, Jesse Eisenberg, I guess, is the lead. I know they're cold, whatever.
Yeah. Funny business.
And they were both great in that movie. There were parts of that movie that were, for me anyway, difficult to watch. But it was a great movie, great performances, great direction, great cinematography, great writing. I can't believe it wasn't nominated for more shit, because it was very good.
Just screenplay. Other than this, right? I think maybe just the 2 nominations.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
I think that's right.
Yeah, they were too busy nominating Emilia Perez.
Yeah. So yeah, that was great. I thought he gave a good speech. I think that the winners for Best Documentary Feature gave a really great speech.
Yeah.
And this documentary is called No Other Land, and it is about the West Bank and settlers, and it was made jointly by an Israeli and a Palestinian filmmaker, and the two of them made it together.
That's nice.
A really important story that also has had a lot of trouble getting a distributor and getting places to stream in the United States, and very difficult to watch. And it
what's this one called?
Very much just because of it's called No Other Land, and it definitely feels like there is an anti-Palestinian bias that is affecting the availability of this. And again, it was made
about that.
Right, and again, it was made by 2 people, one Palestinian and one Israeli, and so. Can't really get much more balanced than that, and yet it's being censored and it's being blocked. And I think everybody should try to go watch it, because there's probably a reason that they're trying to stop you from watching it. And also, as a note, the Palestinian filmmaker of this documentary had said that he was going, no matter what happened, and regardless of the settler violence and the occupation of land in the West Bank, he was going to go back to the West Bank because that's his home and that's where he lives, and he did. And in the last few days, he was violently attacked by settlers. And while he was in an ambulance being treated, the IDF came and fucking kidnapped him. And there was a time where no one knew where he was. And now we've received word that he has been released. Now, why this man who was a victim of violence and a victim of crime was detained in the first place? Well, I don't have to say I don't fucking know why, because I do know why.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, go watch No Other Land.
If you can.
It's 2025.
There
you
are
can
probably
find a
ways.
way.
There are probably
find
ways,
a way.
Perhaps.
Go watch this movie, because there's clearly a reason that certain people are trying to stop you from watching it. Anyway, but it was a great speech. It was beautiful, and it was honest, and it was compassionate, and it was empathetic, and a good show of humanity and brotherly love in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I really have any other major
speeches
or things. I will say I was happy about the Dune wins, because
well, I mean,
it's a nice acknowledgement.
Dune Part 2 was the collective watch, review, repeat
certified
film
fresh
of 2024, certified fresh by watch, review, repeat. So Dune Part 2 did take home 2 awards, so we can recognize it for that. Sound, best sound, as well as best visual effects, which I think are both deserved. I maybe could make an argument that it deserved more than that, but I was happy with those two, especially like, I don't know. I guess those two were deserved. It's just the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Like, yeah, the ape stuff's pretty good. Sound, like, Wild Robot had good sound and stuff. But it's like, I don't know. You got 3 musicals in sound. It feels kind of like the same sort of thing, where it's just like,
yeah.
Are you nominating musicals for sound because they're musicals? And it's like, I think the answer is yes, based on how the other nominations panned out. But
A Complete Unknown isn't actually a musical.
Right? I guess that's true. It's not literally a musical, but it's a musical. It's a musical biopic, right? Or it's a biopic about a musician.
Musical as an adjective movie.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So, right, not literally a musical, but it's got Timmy doing the voice, that sort of thing. So, not that we saw it. All right.
Okay. Oh, wait, I have one more.
Okay.
Costume design, Justice for Nosferatu. I did not see Nosferatu, but I listened to a fantastic interview on, where did I listen to it? The podcast Noble Blood, I think, an interview with the costume designer for Nosferatu, and hearing her talk about all of the thought and attention that went into these costumes. And then I went and looked at them, and I talked to Colton about it, because obviously you had seen it, and I just was so impressed by the work that went into this, the creativity, the execution, and the way that she made these costumes part of the plot and part of the film, and in a movie where you wouldn't necessarily think that would be the case. I just found it really impressive, and I think it was just seeing it go up against costume design, where it's like A Complete Unknown. Okay, yeah, you found some old vintage clothes. Okay, Conclave. Yeah, the costume design for Conclave was done by the Vatican. I'm sorry. Please, come on.
That's
Gladiator
cool.
2, please, get fucked. Gladiator 2, no, absolutely not. And so then it gets beat out by Wicked, which, again, I really liked Wicked. Liked it a lot more than I thought I would. Wicked is my favorite stage show, favorite musical. The costumes in Wicked, the vast majority of them weren't even as good as the costumes they used in the stage musical. So the idea that this should win, and again, when they're based off the stage musical, they're not original. They're based off of this, whereas Nosferatu is just totally original, totally creative. Whatever. Justice for Nosferatu costume design. And I really hope that costume designer
Justice for Nosferatu all around. 4 nominations, 0 wins. 0 wins. Totally
big
shut
misstep.
out.
That's not good.
I mean, I guess, at least it didn't get the Challengers Civil War fate of getting 0 recognition, but it did, I guess, at the end of the day, get the exact same amount of recognition in terms of wins. So
yeah. Just as one more side note, obviously we're going to talk about Anora. We mentioned A Real Pain being worth watching. Wicked is worth watching. Civil War and Challengers, my other,
big snubs
in the top 3. Those are all movies worth watching from last year. September 5 is also worth watching. That was pretty very good
recognition here.
Yeah, just writing. It was very good. I think it's probably a movie that the experience of watching it is different for different generations, for people who were alive and watching them versus those of us who weren't, or those like me who did not know the outcome. It just made it really interesting, and I thought it was a really well-made film, and I thought the way they incorporated this archival footage and the real broadcast, I just thought it was really well done, and I do think it's worth watching. And I still would like to go and watch Conclave at some point, and I'd also like to watch Flow, and I'd also like to watch Nickel Boys. So I will. I'm not going to discount those, but pretty much everything else on the list I don't care about.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously, you and I living together sort of affects the things that we're going to generally prioritize to watch. But there are things in here that I'm like, oh yeah, I would watch that. And I say that knowing that I probably won't watch it, realistically speaking. But something like Different Man is one that
I did hear
I've
really
heard good things about
that.
Sebastian. If I'm going to pick a Sebastian Stan movie to watch that's not Thunderbolts this year, it'd probably be A Different Man. I mean, I guess agreed with the ones you specifically mentioned. I suppose I'm not.
Oh, and I'm Still Here.
Yes, I'm Still Here is one I would watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew you were here. I didn't think you'd left the room, but it's good to know that you're still with us.
I think it would be really, really interesting to watch a movie that's about people getting disappeared under an authoritarian regime.
Complete fiction.
I have no idea what that could possibly be like.
I guess I'm even thinking like stuff like A Complete Unknown. I'm like, I don't care, but on Max I might watch it if I'm bored.
Yeah, I'm not going.
You know what I mean? Like
Sorry,
that's kind of where I feel about something like that. Like I was never going to see it in a theater, but I don't know. The animated actually. Well, there's a couple things I want to first. Since we were kind of on costume design briefly, I'm going to jump over to its what I would argue cousin, makeup and hairstyling, and give The Substance a shout out because it delivered a win, an Oscar win for The Substance. Come on now,
Yucky.
little recognition there, a deserved win in makeup and hairstyling. But I think animated feature. So Andrew, you're really the authority figure here over us. I mean, you don't have Wallace and Gromit or Memoir of a Snail under your belt, but I think you have Flow, Inside Out 2, and The Wild Robot.
I do have all three.
And Flow is what took it home at the animated feature, which I don't know if it was necessarily a surprise.
No, I mean,
but it was like a
different.
But it was a noteworthy win, I think. Yeah, like I think because traditionally it feels like animated features like Pixar, or just and like Inside Out 2 was the biggest movie of 2024 purely in terms of money made. The Wild Robot, having still been the only one that I saw of those five, I adore it. I think it's fantastic. I'm not sure if I would like Flow better, but I really, really want to watch Flow. So, and I feel like you maybe said something about it.
Yeah, Flow's pretty incredible. Flow isn't for everybody. It's not going to have like the wide.
Well, it's not for kids.
Appeal,
right?
Yeah. What is it?
It's not for kids. It's not for kids,
no,
right?
No.
I mean, it's an animated movie, but it's not for kids.
No. I mean, it's good. It's not for little itty bitties. That's for sure. I think that you could probably. It has no dialogue, right? So.
Right.
In that sense that you're gonna have to have a more mature kiddo to watch it, but it's really thought invoking. It's really good, super good.
Yeah, I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Max movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before Anora?
I think that's most of it. So I think in terms of what we haven't talked about for obvious reasons, because maybe a certain movie was awarded in that category. I guess we sort of Conclave I do want to watch, I guess, to follow up on that. Yep. That did win for adapted screenplay. I can't remember if that might have been.
That's got what's his face in it, doesn't it?
It's got Ray Fiennes, John Lithgow, and
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci's in it. Ray Fiennes.
Maybe I'm thinking of Ray Fiennes.
Now, as Conan established, it's just Ralph because he lost.
Yeah,
he didn't win for best actor. He lost to fucking Adrian Brody. Should have let Rafe win, because not only would he still be Rafe, he would have given a 45-second speech. And
we could have been out of there. We could have gotten out of there 5 minutes early.
That's right. The Brutalist took home cinematography as well, and score, which, having not seen it, is hard for me to speak on those things. Obviously, we've set our piece on, well, Anna set her piece on score, and I think I certainly will co-sign with that piece. Cinematography, I think Nosferatu is my personal pick, but, what I did see of The Brutalist looked very
well, and see, very, of what I saw,
well shot.
I think my favorite cinematography was A Real Pain. So,
Which
like, I don't know.
Right. Do they nominate these things? Like who nominates them? And have they actually seen these movies at the point that they're being nominated?
No. They don't have to have seen every movie in the category.
So who's making these decisions? It's like, oh, that looks pretty good. I'm going to nominate that. That might be good. And then they watched Emilia Perez and like, oh.
Right. Like a lot of it could be that way.
It's a little bit of a misstep.
They have to change how they do this. I mean,
Challengers, tennis. Ugh. Yucky.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like they just like threw The Brutalist, Emilia Perez, and Wicked in every category. And again, there's really good things about Wicked.
10 nominations for The Brutalist and The Wicked, 8 for A Complete Unknown, Conclave. Like, I don't know.
And this again where I'm like, okay, editing, those three are nominated along with Conclave and Anora. And I'm sorry, like, Anora, absolutely, yes, deserving of being nominated, deserving of the win. I can't speak to, most of the others, but like, how do you not nominate challengers?
Yeah,
how do you not nominate
that's
challengers for
egregious
editing?
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. I don't know. What was their deal? Like, why did they forget it existed?
It came out too early.
Was Luca spending all of his time, campaigning for queer with Daniel, like Craig? I don't know. It blows my mind.
Well, shit's rigged, man.
Shit
Except for the parts that we
rigged.
liked, which is probably the stuff we're about to talk about.
Yeah,
which is
go ahead, do
the
your little thing.
5 categories that Anora brought home, or do we want to just do anything? You want to set it up?
Let's jump in. Let's talk about Anora.
We're going to talk about a movie that maybe won 5 awards on the night.
Oh, are you really going to try to say these fucking Russian names?
Hell yeah!
There we go.
So Anora. It's a 2024 film that is now streaming on Hulu and, which is very fun to say, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Watch it with your kids. It's
No.
great. Written and directed by Sean Baker and edited by, I think, right? Isn't that maybe correct? Isn't that maybe relevant to this conversation? Stars Mikey Madison, got her name right. Mark Edelstein, Yora Borisov, Karen Karagulian, Vache Tovmasian, Daria Ekamasova, and Alexei Serebriakov.
Oh, crap.
Very nice.
Those were probably close. They're in the neighborhood. Not actually Russian, just living.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty good. I was impressed, Colton.
See, I just need an audience of 1, and then I feel good about things. Anora, a stripper from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she marries the son of an oligarch, but her fairy tale is threatened once the news reaches Russia, Mother Russia. So how do you want to talk about the awards that this movie landed? Do you want to talk about your general thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, are we doing the general? Like, I don't know if I need to do. I think, are we doing the standard shit of like non-spoiler spoilers, or can we just fucking talk about it and not give major spoilers?
I mean, I guess we could keep it. If we keep it generally pretty light on spoilers, I think we can keep it as an open conversation.
Okay, great.
Because I do think it's the kind of movie that like.
We can talk about it without revealing the spoilers.
I think that's fair. Yeah. And I think if you need to reveal a major spoiler,
just check yourself.
Since I think we're using this episode as a vehicle to say, hey, maybe you should watch Anora. Right. Don't spoil the shit out of it, because then the people that haven't seen Anora yet because they fucked up and haven't seen Anora yet aren't totally screwed by this conversation. Yeah. So if you're going to get into anything super duper major, I think just maybe flag it out of respect for the 3 people listening that are in that situation.
I knew before I even saw this movie that I was going to really like it. I had really high hopes, and I was not disappointed at all. This movie is fucking awesome. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was so much fun. Like, it just, the energy of it, the story, the cinematography, the editing, the music was great. The performance, like everything about this movie, I thought was so good. It was entertaining to watch. I laughed out loud way more times than I thought I would. There's a point in this movie where the type of movie it is kind of changes, and it just really excels at both of the different kind of tones of the movie, and also the transition and kind of the ping-ponging back and forth. I think Mikey Madison was so fucking good, but I also think pretty much everybody else was really good too. I loved this movie. I just thought it was really good. I can't wait to watch it again. It just was so much fun. I feel like I made a comparison at one point about how like there's the vibe shift in some ways like reminded me of Uncut Gems, in how like the type of movie it is like changes, except that I hated Uncut Gems. I should say I can fully recognize that Uncut Gems was a great movie, great performances, fantastic film, worthy of all the accolades. For me personally, I hated the entire experience of watching it. Stressful movie. It's just stressful. Just watching that much stupidity occur in front of me just was really difficult for me to watch. And Anora is not that. Anora is just so good. You're actually rooting for the people. You're somehow rooting for practically everyone on the screen, except for the fucking assholes who are too rich for their own good and are, well, let's just say fuck Russian oligarchs. So yeah, other than
American ones too, but that's not relevant to this conversation.
Oh, American ones too, yeah, and South African ones too.
Yeah, interesting.
And also, just put this out there: fuck anyone who supports the oligarchs, whether you're aware of it or you're too stupid to realize it. And that also was one of the great jokes I feel like that Conan made about all the wins for Anora, which is that it's really refreshing to see an American stand up to rich Russians and tell them to go fuck themselves. It was a really satisfying movie. It was really fun. I think especially when you watch Mikey Madison's acceptance speech, it's like even more impressive her performance because
she's so different.
She's so different from
very
Anora,
transformative
and
role.
I think we see a lot of actors who, Kieran Culkin gave a great performance.
It's an extension of themselves.
Yeah, he's kind of just playing himself. Mikey Madison, every single thing she's just so different in, and I just
what else has she been in? I
just
didn't recognize her from anything.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Scream 6,
I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, wasn't she?
That show that I always use the clip of her and her mom.
Yeah. Better Things.
Better Things. Yeah. I have not seen all of that show, but I've seen a lot of it. Very good. Great scene talking about child support that I use frequently in conversations with colleagues and even clients. It's just really good. I don't know. I don't feel like I have a ton of depth to say about this movie, except that I had very few faults with it. Again, I can't wait to fucking watch it again. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a really rewatchable movie. And like I said, it's really fun, but it's also like, there's also more to it. I think the idea of, there are scenes where it's like, oh my God, this, it's just some young kids drinking and doing drugs and having sex and playing video games and partying. But like, that's not what it is. And it's just very, there's so many places that feel very relatable in it. And, it also, again, like, not to give spoilers, but like that final scene is like so impactful and so simple and yet meaningful. And, I think this movie was fantastic. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I really have much else to say except every part of it was good.
Okay. Well, to circle back to something that came up earlier in the episode, I think perhaps before you were on, since we're not going to do like a full non-spoilers recommendation, spoilers things, maybe we can do a recommendation in the sense of, would you recommend that people pre-order the 4K Criterion disc, which is coming out April 29th? Is that how good you felt about this movie?
Sponsor? Oh, I see what you're saying.
That
yes,
maybe,
yeah.
Maybe
no, we already,
worthwhile.
No, we already did that. Absolutely would recommend doing that. I also
is that good.
I also wouldn't mind watching it before that too.
Saying, do you watch it on Hulu first, and then you're like, I really like that?
Yeah.
Don't watch it with Hulu with ads.
Yeah, don't
do that.
That's Andrew's recommendation.
Yeah,
don't do that. That's fucked. I promise.
Also, don't watch it with your children. Don't watch it with
maybe not with your parents either.
Yeah, that's true. That could be weird.
Yeah, I will say, like, I love this movie. I also, I told my parents not to bother with it because I don't think they'd like it. But that's, I think, like, a good comparison is like Moulin Rouge is my favorite movie. Like, I love how fucking chaotic and insane that movie is, and I love it. Like, my parents hated Moulin Rouge. I think they'd hate Anora. Like, it's not for everybody, and that's fine. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought it was fantastic, and I really like. I feel like there was a third thing about it that I can't remember now. But like thinking back on it, there's only like two things that I didn't love. One is just there's a moment where like her hair keeps getting in her face and she keeps pushing it back, and I'm like, get this girl a hairband, please, because it was distracting. Although maybe not as distracting for people who haven't had long hair, and who know that struggle. And then there also is like a couple uses of a homophobic slur that isn't really being used in a like explicitly like homophobic or hateful way, but it's just really unnecessary. I don't think it takes away from the film to not have it be used. I don't know, that felt a little lazy to me because I just
That's the way the Russian crime guys talk, though, right?
It wasn't said by the Russian crime
She's
guys.
the one that said it.
She's the one
that says it.
But
I also think that
right, and I do think
it's fair for some. It seems like something
correct. I'm not saying it doesn't seem realistic.
But,
she would say it. I just don't think it adds anything to the movie, and I don't think it takes anything away to have her not say
so
it.
it's still at the end of the day a choice by a filmmaker.
I thought he said it too. Maybe he was questioned about it. What is that?
He says he's not one.
Right.
So but it's because she says it first, and also again, even if you could see someone saying this in real life, like it doesn't mean you have to put it on the screen.
There's still a choice made to do that.
Right. Exactly. You don't need to do it.
I think that's fair.
And that's kind of my only issue at all with it. Everything else, I thought it was great.
Andrew, you saw this movie on Hulu with ads, it sounds like.
I did, yeah. It was problematic. Well, the first time so Sarah and Haley were trying to watch. They started. We were having Steven and I were playing Magic, and I happened to be like,
oh god,
Steven's back was to the TV, and I was like, I could out of my periphery, I could see the TV. And I'm sitting here trying to play my game, right? Because I wasn't actively watching it. They started it. And this was before you texted me to watch it. We're going to watch Anora. Okay, whatever. We're going to be playing. And so I'm sitting here trying to play. And then over the corner of my eye, just people constantly banging. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys watching? I look like, just for like, the first third or whatever. And then we ended up going home. And they didn't finish the movie. Well, we ended up finishing the movie, days later or whatever. And
you didn't start it from the beginning at that point?
No, when I went to watch it, I started from the beginning. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you said we finished it, I thought you meant you.
No, we picked.
Good. I would have been real pissed.
No, I definitely saw it from the beginning.
Okay, good.
And I think that while it's it's not Nosferatu and it's not Dune 2. I think this is an absolutely incredible movie. I thought that the chaos, like in the middle of the movie, of course, don't get me wrong. Yeah. The Binger is awesome. That's fun to watch, and that's totally fine. And it kind of just compounds until you get to the consequences of a Binger, and then all the chaos that ensues from that. I thought that. I think I texted you. It felt very.
You can check for receipts.
Was it Pulp Fiction-y, or I don't know.
You said.
Another reason my dad would hate it.
Middle bit of the house was straight Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
hilarious.
no, okay, so my dad would definitely hate this movie.
And it was just so fun to watch. I was laughing my ass off.
Yes, like actual laugh out loud funny moments.
Yes,
it was so good
for that whole bit.
Every single like I don't know what it's like the like sharp cut.
The editing is
the editing
so funny.
Was a source of humor in and of itself.
It took me out every time.
Yeah. It was perfect. And then the editing throughout the whole movie is masterclass. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cinematography that feeds into the editing, I think, is really awesome too. And it's not like the whole movie is like, I wouldn't say that it's like the most incredibly shot thing ever, right? But there are really awesome shots, and that coupled with the editing makes for a lot of fun. And a lot of
I think also like with cinematography, I feel like sometimes I find fault with cinematography because it's like, is this actually a beautifully shot film, or is this a film with a lot of beautiful shots in it? And so like I remember us talking about All Quiet on the Western Front, and how there's a few different points in that movie where it's just like this beautiful shot of, whatever. And it's like, but does that mean it's the best cinematography? And like, I think this is where I felt really frustrated with Nomadland, because I'm like, okay,
that's another pretty
getting
one.
some really beautiful shots here. Very beautiful. But are we going to fault a movie that doesn't have moments where you're in like the beautiful wilderness of the United States to catch sunrise or whatever. Like it's just, is cinematography about the best camera capture of a story within a movie, or is it the prettiest pictures in a movie? And so I think it depends on how you're looking at cinematography. But I think with this, like, you know, to me, it's also about the shot, about the car.
Well, the cinematography really, it frames the moments in this movie, I think, in a really creative way.
Also, they were really driving that car. Oh. When they're driving the car around, they were really driving, which I didn't know until way later. And, you know, so many, like, driving scenes are so fake looking that you just know. Doing this. Oh, looking over here. Right. Oh, you know. And apparently in that, they were actually like, the guy was actually driving. They were actually in the car, which I think, you know, it says a lot. And I know that, like, when they're in Vegas, like, after they get married and they're, like, out talking to people, I'm pretty sure, like, all that was ad-libbed. Like, I think Sean Baker was just like, go talk to people, you know, and like just see like random people, how they react to you. And
that's my wife.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just, cool. I just think that the kind of combination of, you know, great writing, great editing, but also just kind of like letting shit happen naturally and kind of organically just really shows.
And I think that the way that they wrapped up this movie was touching too. You know what I mean? So like it's kind of like a full package deal. You know, you get a lot of fun, you get a lot of humor, and then it really wraps up, and it's
a lot of emotion. Humanity.
Yeah, I think it was. I fully see why this movie, you know, is 2024's best movie or you know, film of the year. It was very, very, very well made. It was a very, very good movie. I enjoyed it a whole lot. I enjoyed it a whole lot more than I expected to enjoy it, to be honest. I didn't know what I was coming into at all.
I thought you were watching Amelia Perez.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. You know. And then whenever I saw the first 10 minutes of it, I thought I was halfway watching a porno. I didn't know exactly what I was going into. And then when I sat,
it does. I mean, it goes right into it.
I also think just the fact that you would say that, like, I think also goes to actually like how well done the sex scenes were, and like how, you know, it's, I think I was talking to my friend Julia earlier today, and we were comparing you know, Anora to Poor Things, you know, from last year, and how
I never saw that one.
Fucking hated Poor Things, and you know, the sex scenes in that movie are just so fucking bizarre, and it's like who is direct, like sometimes I watch Yorgos' stuff and I'm like, have you ever had sex? Like, what are you doing, dude? Why do you think this is normal? Like, this is not, like, this is just bizarre. And everything he does and the way he shoots it. And
I mean,
I know he's trying to be weird,
right?
But it's also
I don't know
like,
that Poor Things was trying to present as normal in any way, but
yeah, but it's also, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like so much of it was trying to be like, she's experiencing humanity. It's like, well, that's not what this is.
Yeah,
this is just fucking weird shit by
fucked up
Yorgos'
version of humanity.
Like fetishes. Yeah, like it's
I agree with
it's
that.
just bizarre. Whereas this, like, okay, so there's graphic sex scenes, but they're not violent. They're not degrading. They're not.
No, it's just sex scenes.
Yeah, they're not like voyeuristic. They're just like, you know, I don't know.
People having sex.
Right. And it's just like, I think the fact that, you know, obviously
it's a little racier than the average Hollywood sex scene.
Yeah,
but not,
it's also about a stripper / prostitute.
Right. Like,
and
I think
the whole fucking
thematically, like, it's
plot
it
revolves
sense.
around her being a stripper and a prostitute. Like, I don't know. It just kind of makes sense. I don't know. I just think
I don't take fault with it.
Right. I don't think it was gratuitous. I mean, there's a lot of,
I think it is.
It's not
but
excessive, I should say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it,
and
but it doesn't
to be
feel
fair,
like you don't get to a point where you're like, Jesus, another sex
it's contained
scene?
as well.
No.
Right.
I don't want to sound like I'm
sense for the plot.
being critical of it.
Typical American prude.
Yeah, no, because I'm not. But when I wasn't paying attention to the movie. You know what I mean? My first interactions with it, and so.
Well, I mean, I do think it's actually a fair summary. Like the first 45 minutes.
Yeah,
there's
but
a lot
also,
of
like,
fucking.
if we're going to talk about like
okay?
Jason Isaacs, who was like,
labia's on screen.
You're not
like,
seeing.
like,
no, you're not.
No.
Like, I'm sorry.
that's
Do you?
not how it
Can we like
works.
teach you? Do you not know what a labia is? Do you not know what a vulva is? Do we need to have this
No,
conversation,
vulva.
bud?
It might have been both. He just said both. I can't remember.
I don't know. Well, he did walk it back.
He backtracked
yes, to
it.
give
That's
him
true.
to give him credit. He did walk it back and recognize that is not the same.
Who was this?
Jason Isaacs.
I don't know who that is.
He played Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter
Oh,
movies.
he was,
starring
and he was
White
he was
Lotus.
he was offended by this
where-
movie.
No. He on White Lotus. He
May or not have
had
worn.
a full frontal scene. Unclear if it was real or a prosthetic, and he like won't answer weirdly, which is funny because every season on White Lotus, like there's some prosthetic penis every time, like every season, and like the actors before have like talked about it, and he's like, I'm not going to say if it was a prosthetic or not, whereas I'm like, okay, so it wasn't, because if it was, you would just fucking say that. And also, like, you chose to do this. Why are you being weird about it? And he basically tried to say there's like a double standard for men and women. And then it was like, and he walked it back and was like, I take it back. So
He did walk it back.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't think there's any point where, it feels like it's just being done in like a voyeuristic way,
Right.
or in a.
It is not truly.
just
It's truly not a
trying
porno.
to be provocative. It's just like it's part of the movie,
Yeah.
Which is,
Well, I mean, and for the subject matter, I don't know. It would be weird if there wasn't
That's right.
sex
Yeah.
at a minimum. Like, I guess you could do it without nudity. Like, and I think that the nudity is like, I don't know, nothing crazy. I guess it's not
Boobies,
like, yeah, I mean,
butts.
okay.
yeah, I don't know.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's it's pretty standard fare in terms of cinematic
Also,
nudity
like
is concerned.
coming off of White Lotus, I'm like,
That's
this
true.
movie
It's pretty
was fucking
tame
nothing.
compared to that, I'm
It's
sure.
nothing crazy. There was just a lot of it in the very beginning, and I
was a lot
was
of
sitting
it.
here listening. I was just listening, and I heard
No, and I
sex
I
happening
mean,
frequently, and I look over and there's sex happening.
we talked about it. Like, the editing of the movie is such in a
so
way that
funny.
it is like basically a smash cut to a sex scene.
Yeah. But it's to be funny.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not to
totally.
be
It's for
weird
I think
or
for comedic effects
creepy.
at that
It's like-
point.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's hilarious.
yeah. And at the end of the day, what it is it creates such an atmosphere for that first act of the movie that when shit hits the
Makes
fan,
it even more
and when
jarring.
it switches to the second act, then you kind of miss those times.
I thought it was so fun.
know?
Intro to the second act is him answering the door with a boner after being.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And he loses that quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this movie's great.
I had a blast with this movie. Sorry, Andrew. Did you have any? Other
No,
thoughts
no,
or
you're good. Go ahead.
recommendation? Okay, you gonna buy the Criterion 4K disc?
If I was collecting
Some point in your
Blu-rays, I
life?
would. Yes.
All right. If you
Next time I
you're a
watch
collector,
it,
man.
I will
Other
watch it
than Magic
without
the Gathering,
ads.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a good plan. I loved this movie as well.
Yeah. I think the general consensus is if you hate Moulin Rouge, if you hate Pulp Fiction, maybe don't watch this movie. You might not like it. But if you're like, I don't know.
Yeah,
You like the chaos of that.
it's
not
definitely a chaotic movie.
worried about-
that's fair.
provocative shit, and like, I don't know, you don't have some, fucked up judgment of sex workers, then like, I recommend this.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I actually watched the trailer for the movie after watching the movie, just because I was kind of just like,
How did they market this?
yeah. And actually, I think the trailer's pretty reflective of the final product. I don't think it really. I think if anything, it probably tips. Like, even when I gave the synopsis for this movie, I tried, like, the way that they reveal, like, the way the synopsis is listed out on Hulu and Disney Plus, I'm like, oh, I wish I almost didn't know that, because it's stuff that's in the trailer, but I think there's an element of this movie that if you don't know everything about it, other than maybe just the most general setup of it, I think it takes you on such a fucking ride that I think that that the payoff is completely worth it, and it will take you by surprise. Like, it still took me by surprise, but I knew there were things coming, and I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I will say this is something I said to you after we watched the movie. I had heard so many things about the actor who was nominated in this, Yura Borisov, who played what's his character's name? Do we remember? Igor. He played Igor, the henchman guy. He played the henchman guy. He was nominated for actor in a supporting role at the Oscars. He did not win. Kieran Culkin won that, as we talked about. And I kept like trying to figure out like when is this guy gonna pop up in this movie? Because the whole movie was like, I thought it was going to be about him. But then there was this other young Russian actor who was the son, who was Vanya in this, and I was just like, oh, but he's not nominated. I was like this whole movie is about the son and Ani, and I'm just like, where the fuck's this guy gonna come in? And so the way that the story really developed kind of took me for surprise in his involvement, his particular involvement. And again, jumping around spoilers here, like, I think the way that he gets integrated in the movie is really, really
it's
compelling.
very well done.
Very well done, because he's great. I think he absolutely deserved the nomination here, and Karen was great. I haven't seen the other nominees in that particular category: Edward Norton, Guy Pearce, Jeremy Strong. But I think it was a well-deserved nomination. I don't know. I had so much fun. The distinct acts of this movie are what I think give it the life. The first act is a lot of fun. It is the binge. It's just a fucking wild party, crazy sex, nudity. Okay. But like, it's so much fun. It's just a blast to watch. And like, you're kind of having fun with them, like vicariously, I think in its own sort of way.
Yeah. And then it's kind of nice to not be quite in that chaos.
Yeah. I mean, totally. Like, I'm like, would it be fun for me personally?
No, it's exhausting. I kept thinking to myself, oh my God.
No, I don't think so. No way. But like, it's fun to like, oh, I can see how people are enjoying this that aren't me. The second act, the Pulp Fiction bit, if you will, I guess, was like really fun. And the same way, like, the first act is fun. The second act is funny. I guess that's the dividing line, where it's just complete fucking chaos, just complete batshit insanity. I think it's all fun. I think it's all fun, but it's like different levels of fun, and like the style and the attempt at the humor, I think, kind of changes throughout, and then obviously by the third act, I think it gets a little bit more introspective and like takes I don't want to say a darker turn, but it's not it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Off a little bit for me.
I guess I don't see it as much in the three acts as much as I see it in the
there's maybe
two,
one
with like
one
the
big
interlude
turn
and the conclusion, and I also just think, like, to me anyway, it didn't feel like different acts. I thought it actually, like, I don't know, to me it just felt like one kind of wild ride. Like, it just, I thought it flowed pretty nicely actually into the second, because even though it shifts, it's like, as they drive around, and honestly the whole thing in like the candy shop or whatever, like, I don't know, like, that was just a scene that stood out to me as being funny. And apparently the guy, the candy shop owner, the ice cream shop, whatever, he's like the real guy who owns that. Like, he's not an actor. Wow. They were just like, all right, this is gonna happen, just like react how you react.
That's a pretty, I think Sean Baker has done that with stuff. I think even some of the dancers were just people that he met from kind of immersing himself in the community as he was researching for the project. I think he's done that with past movies. Which I should say, I'm not a Sean Baker head. I have not watched. I don't know if I've seen any of his other movies. I don't know.
I'd like to watch all of
his
movies.
I would too.
He's great.
Florida Project, I heard a lot of really good things about. Red Rocket, I know people enjoy a lot. I feel like the Florida Project is more what I've like feels like more my thing. Tangerine, I've heard good things about as well. But definitely like I guess writer, editor, producer, director who I feel like, I don't know, is telling the story of people, right?
Yeah.
People that aren't really getting the focus in a lot of movies and telling the stories.
And I think a good
human.
Yeah, and I think a good
stories.
Juxtaposition is looking at Amelia Perez, where this guy made a movie about what he thought. trans people and
in Mexico
and Mexicans and drug cartels, like what he
people.
imagined it might be like. And this, like, you know, Sean Baker is very different from every single person in this movie. And rather than just like put up some like fantasized version of what this is, like he, you know, the Russian actors here are Russian. Like most of them don't speak any English. Like they, you know, they just knew what was in the script and they've been learning it along the press ride.
The Armenians are Armenian.
Right. The Armenians are Armenian. And, you know, he actually like talked to sex workers, talked to strippers, like encouraged his cast to do the same, and, you know, clearly cared about presenting an accurate picture of their lives and of their experience. And I think that that you can tell that it feels more authentic, and it's almost like you can be authentic and you can make a better film and still be like, you know, respectful of other humans and people with stories that are different than yours.
Yeah.
I thought I think
empathy, what a concept.
I think that it is, I kind of viewed it as the first act, you got the binger, the second act, you got the chaos and like the repercussions of the binger.
When you guys say binger, do you guys mean the bender?
I call it a binge, but I also get all my, I've heard binger as well.
Follow up to Andrew's.
Get all my words mixed up.
That.
But either way.
Bender.
I was trying to I was picturing food. I was like,
when you said
understand.
Benger the first time, I was like, I don't know what he's saying. But
I thought you were talking about when they're shoving the hamburgers in their faces. That's what I thought you were talking about at first. So I just wanted to clarify.
The same thing with alcohol.
That man was shoving so many hamburger, so much hamburger into his head. Too much hamburger, arguably.
Crazy. Sorry.
And then the third act was
for the hamburger scene.
The character growth of that of you know, the 1 and the 2, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's, I guess I will split hairs and say, or split the difference. Maybe I think that's the correct, like, I don't know if it's 3 acts. But
that's just 2. The way I
think there's just a sharp turn. There's
a sharp turn. I think there's a decisive shift in what the movie is about and what it's focusing on. And I think that it still retains a sense of humor while, like, obviously very much shifting its plot focus. You know what I mean? So, but I think that I agree. Like, it never loses momentum because you're 45 minutes, you're just on this fucking wild ride, and then you're on a different wild ride from that point, which kind of is what propels it towards the end. I think it really only slows down, and I don't mean that in a pejorative way. I really think it really only slows down in the very final scene, because that's the only opportunity that your main character has kind of had to, I don't know,
take a minute to breathe
and
take
in
what's happened over the last few weeks.
Process the fucking madness that has, you know, unfolded in her life, as it's, you know, I mean, you know, they're basically staying up all night to get, you know, for things to happen. So, I don't know. Either way, I think it has a really, really great flow. I don't know if I think a 3-act structure is not a bad thing either, because it gives you arcs and stuff like that. But I do think that this is definitely a very propulsive film, which I think when we were watching it, we were like, oh, we'll pause and do like a break, and then we just watched it straight through, and it was just oh, it's over. Okay,
yeah, and
it's that kind of movie,
and I think it's kind of nice in that it, you know, not that there's zero, but there's really not that much character growth. I think it's character development because we see more of who they are, but like by the end of this, like,
there's not,
the
literal time period's not that long.
Right. And how many people are actually in a different place than where they started. And it's more just like, you know, I don't think it's that the characters are changing that much. I think it's what's changing is how much we see of them. And I think that that's another kind of Sean Baker, you know, esque thing to basically show like there's more to people that you know, that are different from you, that you may not think much of their lives, and like there's more to it than you may know from looking in from the outside.
Right. And the more you spend time with someone, the more you get to know them.
And it's almost like people with different experiences, maybe people who don't have a standard 9 to 5, who don't have an office job or don't have a job other than, you know, sex worker. Like, it's almost like those people are full humans who deserve to have their stories told and deserve empathy and respect. And it doesn't matter if you wouldn't live your life the way they would. It doesn't mean they're not worthy of attention and respect.
Yep. Well, I think there's one place that makes sense to end our conversation on Anora, but before we get there, does anyone have any other just general thoughts about the movie?
No.
I think we need to talk about what it won then.
What did it win?
Didn't we I feel like we kind of talked about it.
We've sort of alluded to it, but I think it's worth putting a fine point on it all. It won Best Editing, which I think is very deserved based on our conversation, our collective conversation. It also won Best Original Screenplay.
Hell yeah.
Which I think it's very creative.
Completely unique story.
The dialogue, I think, I don't know if we've really talked about it, but I think very snappy and just very very realistic, I guess.
Yeah.
Is
the sheer amount of F-bombs.
Lots of F-bombs.
I mean, every other word is fuck, and
but
it's
it just
hilarious.
sounds like real people talking, and maybe part of that
I think part of it is that they are,
but there's a very, I don't know, non-scripted feel to it, which I think is hard to pull off. I think most movies have a scripted sort of feel to them because they are. But I think to have a naturalistic sort of feel, and I think that's, from what I understand, not being someone that's watched a lot of Sean Baker stuff, I think that's where he excels, is getting performances out of, well, sometimes non-performers, literally.
Right, and he knows when to give them the freedom to just be themselves and be a person.
And apparently to edit it in a way that it comes across still as naturalistic and not just
he's every single part of it
because it's a movie. So original screenplay was another win. Mikey Madison, actress in a leading role, she won. She beat out Demi Moore for The Substance, Cynthia Erivo, Fernanda Torres, Carla Sofia Gascon. She's phenomenal in this, and I think what you said already is really the thing that stands out, is just how different she is. She did I think we do need a sponsorship from Criterion, but I watched part of her, like the Criterion Closet picks. I don't know if you guys have been watching any of those. And she's so soft spoken and so she just seems so, she's so unlike her character in this. It's almost jarring.
Yeah.
Because this is really the first thing I've seen her in, like watched her actually in, and I thought she was so great. I think you and I were celebrating as we watched the Oscars as Anora kept raking in the wins.
Fuck yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, like, because we had watched it, I don't know, 2-3 days maybe before the Oscars aired. It was pretty recent. It was that week, I think, for sure.
Yeah. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. And so it was nice to see that.
Yeah.
Sean Baker won Best Director for Anora. Beat out Jacques Audiard.
Are you going to read every name? Because
Brady
if you
Corbet.
are, just do it faster.
No, I'm not going to read them all. But he beat out some other people.
Yep.
Not John M. Chu. We did technically beat John M. Chu, but it's because he wasn't nominated. And then, Andrew already said it, but Best Picture went to fucking Anora.
Yeah.
10 nominees, one winner. The one winner was Anora. Yeah. I don't know that I expected that going into the Oscars.
I think it's the right decision, but yeah.
I think The Brutalist is probably what I would have
expected.
So we have in years past done our literal predictions
and also usually what we wish would win.
They're informed predictions based on movies that we've generally seen. Here, I think we didn't do predictions at all. I think because as we talked about, it's like
in the same way that
missed
I
so much because
be able
we don't
to
care or don't
vote
want
for
to.
them without having seen every movie in a category.
Yeah, well, if that was a rule that was enforced, I wonder how things would look. But yeah, I mean, it beat out The Brutalist, which I thought. Conclave, I think, felt like a dark horse contender. Obviously, you couldn't entirely rule out Emilia Perez with its 13 nominations coming in. I mean, you could kind of, but you could have seen something. You could have seen something coming in there and snatching it out. And Anora was just kind of the one that,
snuck in there
and well deserved.
Yeah. And I appreciate too that I think sometimes there's like a, accusations of Oscar bait and like, oh, this feels like it was built in a lab to win a bunch of awards. And like, this movie is not that.
Yeah,
like, this movie is not that at all.
You cannot levy that criticism here.
Not at all. This movie is it's it's real, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's just a great film.
If you had to pick one movie in the best picture category that feels like it was manufactured in a lab to win an Oscar, what was it? What would you pick?
I would say The Brutalist.
Okay.
It felt like that. I think probably also a little bit to an extent Conclave, just based on like the cast. You know,
I feel like A Complete Unknown is like the one for me, where it's just
that feels like Oscar bait for Best Actor.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I don't think it feels like Oscar bait for Best Picture. Yeah, I don't think it feels like Oscar bait for Best Picture.
That one to me is just like, oh God, I don't dislike Bob Dylan or anything. I don't dislike Timmy Chalamet, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't care.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care. Anora, 97th Academy Awards. Any final thoughts on either for anyone?
Nope.
No, I didn't watch the Oscars, so.
Wow.
I will say the show itself was like better.
You should watch it maybe
in some ways than it has been. I would at least watch the opening, the Wicked music part, and then the Conan monologue. Those are both very much worth watching.
Okay,
I would agree with that. Well then, shall we catch up on things? Andrew, you been up to anything over there? Anything fun? Since we talked about Captain America: Brave New World. Since you vented about your theater experience, or your drive home experience, I guess, rather.
I am at the end of Wind and Truth of Sanderson, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's wrapping up pretty good. What else do we have? Started Severance, which we talked about. Started Daredevil.
We didn't get too much detail, so how far along in Severance are you?
Just one episode.
First season, I assume.
Literally started it just the other night.
Okay. We'll table this. This for next episode then. Fair enough.
We've got Daredevil. 3 or 4 episodes into that. It's good. What else do we have? The Crystal River house is done, so that's cool. We stayed there. It was the grand opening of that place. So there's a pontoon boat there, so that's nice. Hop on the pontoon boat with the baby. We took the baby on the pontoon boat and Theo. We took Haley and Steven out and their 2 kids, and that was pretty cool. I put a grill on the side of the pontoon, so it's pretty neat.
Okay.
So lots of fun there.
Baby like the water?
Yes, baby loves the water.
Okay.
My parents put in a pool at their place, which is like, it's like the end of the canal. They have both houses at the end of the canal, and so at their place they put in a pool. So there's a pool and a hot tub there now. So that's pretty cool. Baby will be swimming there quite a bit. So that's a lot of fun. And I think that's pretty much it. It's really all I've been up to. Not a whole lot. What about you guys? What y'all been up to?
Well, I think we've been up to a lot of the same things together, but before we get to that...
Oh, you want to do individual stuff first?
I don't know if I have much individual stuff on my end, but I don't know. I know you've been at least watching
shit without you.
Without me, but I don't know if there's other stuff you want to talk about too. Because you haven't been on in a year, so if you really want to like...
Oh my God, I'm not
dish it out, yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Just recent shit. I feel like, let me see, what book did I finished the Alan Rickman...
Yeah.
It's not really a memoir, but it's like a publishing
diaries.
of his diaries. And that was really good. That was really interesting.
What's it called? Do you know?
Truly Deeply, I think.
That sounds right.
It was really good. It was interesting to read about his life and in some ways his, more explicit opinions than others, but he had a lot to say and a lot of it was very funny, so I do recommend that.
Then we watched Die Hard.
Oh,
I feel like after you got through the portion of time where
exactly after I got through that part, yeah. I
talked
so it's
about
interesting,
watching
yeah.
Die Hard recently.
Yeah, and then I'm still getting through ER because I'm trying to rewatch it all the way through before
we want to go to the pit,
and I'm struggling through it right now because it's real bad.
Yeah,
it's really good, and then it dips, and then it gets
it
does. There's when Mekhi Phifer and Linda Cardellini and Parminder Nagra, like when they come on, it's good for a little bit again, and then it gets bad again. So,
ebbs and flows.
Trying to get through it. I did finally fully catch up on Bridgerton. which is good. And then I also caught up on White Lotus because I hadn't watched the second season. I did that, and now I'm watching the third season as we go, and it is insane and unhinged and very fun to watch most of the time. I don't know if this week's episode was. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of anything else.
I think a lot of the other stuff has been both of us. The other stuff has been both of us. Yep.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I've done on my end, which I haven't talked about and I haven't played in a while, is a game called Balatro, which I would recommend. I have Apple Arcade through the Apple family. It's like a poker rogue-like card game. Like poker inspired. I enjoy it. I think it's on Switch. I think it's on all the consoles and stuff too. But I've been playing it on the phone because I could get it through Apple Arcade. And it's very fun. You get like jokers that can power up your poker hands, and make your full houses, your straights that much more powerful. And I don't know. I don't know. I guess card games. I've played a lot of card games. I guess between Snap, Marvel Snap, Slay the Spire. Inscription's another one.
Playing a lot of card games too. I get it.
I guess I better start collecting Magic the Gathering cards.
Yes.
Stop hitting me.
I didn't. I was gonna say, have you talked on the podcast about what you've been doing instead of Snap recently?
Oh no, I haven't.
There you go.
I downloaded Duolingo, which is not Dua Lipa. I have not been. I have been listening to Dua Lipa. Actually, she's great, very talented. But I've been, I took 4 years of Spanish and 4 cuatro años de español in la escuela primaria.
Now I will hit you.
4 years of Spanish in high school. But it has been over 10 years since I was in high school. And I thought maybe instead of playing Snap all the time, I could do something a little bit more productive with my time, which is maybe learn other languages besides English. So I've started with Spanish because it's theoretically more review than like learning an entire language. And so far that has been true. It's still very basic, but it's like fun. It's kind of designed in it's very mobile friendly, but it is designed in like a video gamey sort of way.
Is this the first time you've used Duolingo?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I realized that. Oh my god.
No, I've never used it before.
That's so funny. I haven't used it in 10 years, but I got pretty far
with Italian.
Yeah, because I was taking Italian too at the time. I was trying to get more like the conversational stuff in, but it's like crazy just because I don't think it's changed all that much in the how many years.
Still a bird that says good job, and
I played around with Duolingo
to tell you stories.
Yeah, well, if you lose your streak or the bird will actually come to your house and murder you.
Oh, so
it's
like Tom Nook. Mm-hmm. It's like actually you owe me 300,000 bells because I built you a house.
Tom Nook
what are you doing?
Wishes he was the Duolingo owl.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I haven't lost my streak. I did actually lose the streak, but I had a streak freeze thing, so it saved my streak.
Okay.
So anyway, I've been trying to be a little bit more productive with my free time and brush up. All right,
what are
Spanish.
We doing together?
So together, we've been watching lots of Daredevil. I think I talked about finishing season 1 on the Brave New World episode, but obviously you were not present for that. So we have watched through season 1 of Daredevil, the original, the Netflix one. We are trying to work ourselves. That's not right. We're trying to work through the original
all of it, right,
and Defenders so that we can go into Born Again. Anna has not seen either Defenders or season 3 of Daredevil.
Correct. I way back in the day watched. Well, I binged the first episode of Daredevil in like three days, if that.
First season,
and then immediately started watching it again and watched it again. But that was a long time ago. That was 9 years ago or something.
Yeah,
9 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. And then I did watch the second season, and then I tried to watch. Oh, and then I watched Jessica Jones. At least the first season. I can't remember if I watched the second season. And then I tried to watch Luke Cage and couldn't do it.
You made it through the Cottonmouth arc.
Yeah, what the fuck were they doing? Get rid of Mahershala. I just so stupid. And then I went back to it probably at least 2 more times to try to finish it, and I just couldn't do it. It was just fucking boring, and I just had no interest in Iron Fist, so I'm just not going to watch those. I do want to watch I do want to watch Punisher though. And if you don't want to watch that, that's fine.
Ice cream.
All right,
Danny.
enough. I'm gonna I do think, even if you don't want to, I think I will watch The Punisher.
Punisher's good. I think it's
so loud.
It's inessential, like I think in the long run, but John Bernthal's so good.
He's so good. Why wouldn't I?
And also, it's got The Thing in it, so a little bit of double casting there.
I don't know. Well,
it's got Evan Musk Backrack as a
Evan Musk. What? What's his name?
Evan
Butt
Musk.
crack. Oh, sorry.
That's not right. Backrack.
Sorry.
Same difference. Back crack, butt crack.
I had
Something
to.
like that. Yeah, I would watch The Punisher again. I mean, there's other things that we want to watch eventually, like Lost Season 2 and the other seasons and other things eventually.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff to watch.
But yeah, so we are, I guess to rein this back in, we are through 3 episodes of season 2 of Daredevil, which is most of the first Punisher arc.
Yeah.
So we've like the last thing we had was Daredevil on the rooftop in chains and kind of the interactions between him and Frank.
Yeah,
and then
great episode.
and then it ends with the big fucking scene of Daredevil going down the stairwell, beating the fuck out of the biker gang, which is awesome.
Yeah, good
incredible.
stuff.
I love. It's not a real oneer, but it's close enough that it's still fucking awesome.
Yeah. And then we also did a little binge big binge of Love Is Blind season 8.
Oh yeah,
Shit sucked us in
We
again.
talked about it a little bit, but we've watched all of it. We've seen it all. We've seen everything.
Yeah. We haven't binged like that since Claim to Fame season 1.
Yeah,
it was wild.
A lot of content.
I got a lot of opinions about that. Especially about the prenup arc, as a family law attorney.
Andrew, you've been watching Love Is Blind season 8?
Yeah,
I know
we
you've
finished
watched
that
some
shit.
past leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so he knows what's going on.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, listen, I just, I love the final couple. Like, they're great. Root for them.
Mm-hmm.
Devin fucking sucks.
Which one was Devin?
Most of the men.
Yeah, most of the men.
Devin was the one that was very hesitant about signing the prenup.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Virginia. And Virginia, of course, is like
She was so sweet.
amazing, and also like so fucking smart and successful. She had a doctorate. Like, just amazing. Yeah, and then just
Dave fucking sucked.
Which one was Dave?
Dave needs therapy.
Dave was the one who was like,
therapy.
well, actually, my sister and best friends are saying
Right.
like you were hooking up with someone like a day
he just
before
sounded
we started.
So stupid, and he just that man needs therapy. as does Madison. She definitely needs some therapy.
Yeah. Lots of trauma there.
Yeah, lots of trauma there.
Unresolved
She's definitely
trauma,
got
I think.
definitely got some issues she could also work through in therapy. And then I mean, I think that we kind of mocked Joey and Alex and whatever, and like I don't think they're evil, but like God, they're just so fucking basic. Like I don't know, I just thank God the women who didn't get married because they all every single one of them deserves better.
Like theoretically, these are actually people's lives, and yeah, I mean, divorce is an option. You may know a thing or two about it, but it's like I don't know. Like I think some people really do truly go into the Love Is Blind experiment thinking, I am desperate for love. Like, I am sick of the fucking dating assholes or whatever. And it's like, maybe this is actually the better way to do it. And so I think there are people that really genuinely buy into it. And then there are people who don't. And I think that
right.
when they come at a crossroads, I think it's kind of really shitty because I think people's feelings do legitimately get hurt. Like, obviously we watch this through the prism of it being reality TV, and it's somewhat entertaining, but like I do feel bad for people that
I think
really get genuinely
and this is also where we
it.
talked about it, where it's like, I think everybody really shits on Jimmy from season 6, but like, to that man's credit, he told Chelsea before the wedding day, and I think he should have gotten more credit for that than he did, because and again, like he didn't want to break up. He was like, let's keep dating. I'm just not ready to get married. And I just think that was, very mature of him. And for all of Jimmy's other faults.
I can't remember Jimmy.
Oh, poor Jimmy.
Jimmy was the one who ended up with Chelsea, who compared told people that people had compared her to
Megan Fox.
And
I remember now.
And again, she is not the one who said she looked like Megan Fox. She said she'd been told that, and she said,
it's just because I have dark hair and blue eyes. Like, she was very upfront about how, like, she didn't
but
get it.
Jimmy heard Megan Fox and was
it was
in love.
over. Fucking
That's
idiot.
exactly what it was.
Yeah. So, and then what's his face being fucking, who'd you take advice from? Fucking Jimmy. Why are you taking advice from Jimmy? What are you doing? I don't even remember Ben. Ben, Jesus Christ. What a...
Ben, does your church have any stance on gay people?
I don't know.
I don't really know. I haven't really thought about it. I don't know if they've really said anything about it before. I wasn't, I wasn't really paying attention or anything. Or if they did say it, I'm not sure that I heard it. Or
He just doesn't care about anything.
If you're like, and also like, dude, if you're cool with homophobia and bigotry, say it with your whole chest so that we know you're an asshole and we can go from there.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Good old Love Is Blind.
It's entertaining.
It was a
Good
fun
time.
binge. It was a good fun binge.
Yeah, it's a good time. And I truly did. I was rooting a lot for fuck, I forgot their names. The final couple, Taylor and what's his name?
What is his name? That's such a good question. That's one of the best questions I've ever heard. I can picture him. Does that make you feel better? Can you picture him?
I can picture him. I can't remember his name.
Oh, what's his name?
Short King.
Short King. Not Alex. It's Alex. Who's the other guy?
I don't remember.
Daniel.
Daniel and Taylor. Yeah. I
they were
them.
nice.
They were very
their love
Daniel.
of Christmas was
Their parents were so
adorable.
awesome. I love their
Their
parents.
parents were awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, both
and
of them.
and the siblings. Oh my
Siblings.
god.
Oh, God,
His
the wedding.
sister was so fucking
Oh
good.
man, that was incredible.
Oh yeah, no, that was beautiful. And you know what? Listen, you find your soulmate or
Sometimes-
a person that you're meant to be with for whatever
Sometimes
stretch
love
of
is
time.
blind.
It happens in weird ways, and kudos to them for giving it a shot and finding each other. So yeah. Anyway,
Go ahead.
Well, I just before you jump into the other like reality TV game shows, whatever. It's not visual, but we also have been listening to a lot of Gaga, Mayhem.
Well, that's true. Lady Gaga.
It's a great album. It
New,
just
new,
cut off
new Lady Gaga.
cut off
album.
like the last 3 songs, and it's a fantastic album.
Yeah, it's not quite Chromatica for me. I mean,
Yeah.
Chromatica obviously hit at a interesting time in our lives.
Correct.
But
it's really
Mayhem's
good.
good.
Very good.
There's some certified bangers on that one, I would say.
Yep. Agreed.
All
right. What?
So trivia, we've been doing lots of trivia game show things. I've talked about some of these already. Pop Culture Jeopardy. We finished the first season. We just finished the first
great.
season. Which
I
was
really hope they do more.
Great, super entertaining.
Colin's a great host.
Colin Jost is the host.
Perfect. Jost is the host
There's
with the
something
most.
to that. Yeah, it's the Jeopardy that we're like, oh, we want to be on that.
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
yeah. Just gotta
really
find a
fun.
third.
We've been watching the newest season of Celebrity Jeopardy, and boy, they are scraping the bottom of the barrel for fucking celebrities.
Yeah, well,
It's
they
pretty
shouldn't
sad.
have crossed the picket line, and they shouldn't have used scabs because
Yeah.
guess what? Most celebrities are in a union.
Yeah, and so the quote unquote, I say celebrities extremely loosely. I'm like, who the fuck are these people?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a few here and there, but it's like, I don't know, like who would you say is the most notable celebrity that we've seen on there in this current iteration, this current season?
I don't know. It might be Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn. It's like I like Sean Gunn. Like good on him, but you couldn't get James. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of.
Well, that would be beyond.
I know, but it's just they're like that's the caliber that they're pulling like on the high end of celebrities.
It's always like when you get someone where like you don't recognize their name, you don't recognize their face.
Ooh.
You're like, I did this, and I was like, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. Like that one
That's
woman
not
who
good.
like I didn't recognize her face and I didn't know her name, but she's on Hacks. I was like, oh okay, I know what that is.
Yeah,
Are they still donating the
she was
money, or
good.
are they pocketing the money?
yeah.
No,
No,
it's
it's all for
donated.
charity,
It's
so
all
it's
for
fine.
charity.
And like, Blake Anderson was on it. He was good. He did it for
Blake
the Turtles.
Anderson was great.
That was great from
love him.
Workaholics.
I didn't know if the celebrities were so loosely
Well,
celebrities
I mean-
that they still. I should probably.
No,
hate
not
what
quite that.
I mean,
some
arguably
of
for
them-
some of them it could be, but I think they
Yeah.
forced them to donate to charity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but and then
Let's them market their project.
and then we've been watching The Floor.
Hell
a lot
yeah.
of The Floor with Rob Lowe hosting, and a certain I won't spoil, I guess, for anyone, but there's an appearance from a couple people that Anna and I have recognized, like they are contestants on this current season of The Floor.
Yep.
For me, one half of the Clerks from Clerks, Brian O'Halloran, is a contestant on this, which is pretty awesome.
And he's someone who, like, if he were a celebrity on Celebrity Jeopardy, like, he could use the money, which is why he's on the floor. And you know,
so
and he's just very likable and
very likable. He's wearing his hockey jersey, which is classic.
Cool.
And then Ira Madison, who hosts Keep It, and like writes on a bunch of TV shows. He's really great.
Yeah.
Actually, fun fact. So Ira Madison, who is a contestant on the floor, co-hosts a pop culture podcast with Louis Rattell, who is a writer on Pop Culture Jeopardy.
It's all
there you go.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. I didn't actually put it on here, but March Madness is happening.
Hell
so
yeah.
we did our bracket picks. Duke and Florida are 1 seeds, could be on a collision course in the national championship if all goes well for both schools prior to that point. Florida had a real test in UConn, defeating the national two-time defending national champions, but
Duke
survived.
had those struggles.
Duke has been rolling through they rolled through both the teams they've played to this point. We'll see how poorly this ages by the time I get a chance to edit this content, because we're going into the second weekend as of recording. So they've both made the Sweet 16, which is obviously not nothing, but a lot of games to be played. And it's March. It's good fun.
Women's basketball too.
Women's basketball.
I feel like it's some of the momentum. There's no Caitlin Clark anymore, but I do feel like some of the momentum is kept up because
for sure.
That shit's entertaining as hell.
More interest than there
has been. It's very much worth watching. And
UConn. I mean, women's UConn team is
always fun
perennial.
Yeah,
national contender. I had USC as my pick. They lost their star player, Juju Watkins, to an ACL tear, which is really horrible, and just awful generally, but also awful timing, obviously too. So, but yeah, I've been keeping. I guess we've both been keeping tabs on both the men and women's tournaments, and so we will continue to do so. In addition to some Daredevil and all the other things that we've been up to. So, I think that might be it. Do you have anything else that we've been up to?
No. I'm tired.
Are you ready to go to bed?
Yeah.
Andrew, are you ready to go to bed?
Yeah.
Obi, who is actually technically in the background of this, are you ready to go to bed? Oh, he's already asleep. Okay.
No, he's awake. He opened his eyes at you, but he is tucked in with a pillow and blanket.
Yeah, he's ready for bed. At a minimum, he's ready for bed. Well, I think it's time to wrap this up then. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, spread the word. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/watch-review-repeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes, as well as timed exclusive access to any future bonus episodes, maybe a David Lynch episode, maybe a Werwulf episode, maybe, I don't know, whatever else we come up with that we've probably already talked about doing and haven't done yet. But that's the place to do it. Our website's watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on some social media platforms, not all. We are on Blue Sky. I think it's watchreviewrepeat.bsky.social.
Just search Watch Review Repeat, you'll find it.
In theory, you'll find it, but we do have the periods, and I don't know if that makes a difference.
You can find it.
You'll figure it out. I think
their website.
There is a link to it on the website. I think I replaced the site that must not be named with a link to Blue Sky.
The one that is really
the Nazi website,
the Nazi Twitter. Yeah.
We're on Facebook, facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat.
Should probably get off that one too.
We're also on Instagram, which is the same issue, I guess. But at Watch Review Repeat. Not full Nazi, I guess, but maybe
right.
Not Nazi sympathetic.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
It's fixed.
If you have any, but if you want to not go through social media, you can go straight to the source. You can send things directly to us at watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Questions, comments, or suggestions. If you've got something to say, send it our way. Thoughts on Anora. We could certainly talk about that on a future episode. Thoughts on, we haven't really talked about a whole lot. Captain America we talked about, but anything that's coming out 2025, I'd be happy to hear thoughts and talk about newer projects as well. Our intro and outro tracks, Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Before we tee up our next episode, we should extend a big thank you to Anna Mattis for hanging out with us talking about the 90. No, that's not right. Yes, that is right. 97th Academy Awards. I had it in my head. It's like 79th. No, 97. As well as Anora, obviously, which there's a reason that we decided to shift our focus and talk a lot about Anora in favor of perhaps The Brutalist or some other of the Oscar winners and over instead of.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, the only one I saw was Anora, so I can't. I'm thankful that I watched Anora.
You saw Dune. Dune Part 2 was nominated for Best Picture.
Was it? That's good.
It was nominated, and one other thing. So I think it was nominated for some things it didn't win as well. Cinematography.
Oh my god.
Right. Might be it. Anyway. Production design, it didn't win. It was nominated for things.
Was Nosferatu at least nominated for production design?
It was, yes, it was.
Good. Okay. Well then,
I was ready to disappoint you with like, nope. Emilia Perez was nominated 5 times actually.
Well, anyway.
And Wicked was nominated for Best Original Score and 5 times, and it won 5 times.
We'll try again next year, see if we can get some justice for Trent Reznor.
We'll see. Tron Ares.
Maybe not that.
I don't know what else.
Maybe not that. Oh, Tron's going to have a fucking awesome soundtrack.
It's going to be a bang. It's going to, nonstop bangers. That's what Trent Atticus.
What's the other one though?
Anyway,
what's the other one who's going to be
Thank you. I don't know. Did you have something?
No.
You're the one that threw it out.
What?
You're the one that suggested them. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything they do is worthy.
Okay. Maybe we'll just get some straight up 9 Inch Nails music.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe we'll get a Studio 666 style movie with 9 Inch Nails.
We could.
Oh,
it's possible.
That'd be so fun. That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty wild.
I wouldn't be mad about it. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for talking about these things with us.
Yes,
I guess we'll see you next year.
Sounds good.
Or maybe before then. I guess it's kind of up to you, but we'll see. We'll see. You're always around, in theory. Sometimes we can hear you in the background when you make comments about things because you pop in.
Sometimes I do jump in and make comments. Sorry.
Yeah. So you'll at a minimum have an audio cameo at some point later this year. I'm willing to bet. Either way, next episode, maybe Mickey 17.
Yeah.
Would like to watch it. Would like to talk about it. It will be on digital in the next couple of weeks. It was supposed to be on digital literally today. And then WB is like, wait, this movie's been in theaters for five days. Maybe we should not put it out on digital, right? Not literally, but like 2 weeks. So they pushed back the digital date to, I think, early April at some point. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe we can wait until it's on digital, and that's a preferable way for Andrew to watch it. I will probably still catch it in theaters. I think just because with A-List, it's going to be literally cheaper to do it that way. But I think that will be good. And then other things.
And then we'll see.
We have Daredevil and Sinners on deck sometime in April.
That'll
I think
be a good
is
one too.
Kind of the rough plan of things to look forward to as well. But probably Mickey 17 next. Well, Andrew, you want to take us out?
Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Later's on the Menjay.
Fuck Adrian Brody.
Oh.
You're off the
And
hook,
all
Hans.
orcs and anyone who is okay with them. Fuck you too.